Who is going to get their first tree? Truck a little bit closer as well. Oh, but we've had a terrible accident here.
Got a loader on its side.
Look at that, a bit of teamwork there. Do here, Args. Do they go for the smaller trees for volume, or do they go and find another big tree a little bit further away?
GTR God is God. He's rolled his truck. No, he hasn't. Oh, that was close. He clipped a stump on the way out. He was at 40 degrees to horizontal. Whoa, is this thing all on? Are we working? Are we here? Get my eyes on so I can see properly. How are we all? Good morning, welcome along to the first official Thrustmaster Logging League. Nice to have you all here. We'll get FSG in very soon. He's just doing his pre-intro. He's probably going to be embarrassed that I've got his camera up there. I should have had a solo one, but we are sitting here and this is what we're doing. So welcome along. Nice to see you all working and listening, Chinook. Perfect. Yoran, how you doing, mate? Yos, good to see you in here. Charlie Boy, Tanner. Nice to see you all. Now, I'm just trying to log into the server, make sure everything is working, and we'll be all good to go when getting into things. So we'll just wait for FSG to jump in here, and we'll have a chat to him. 10 seconds ahead of FSG on YouTube. This is where I need to have a solo camera, so he doesn't look stupid. But we're all right. Now, I just need to find our server details. Where's the password? Ah, goodness. Good start. Good start. How's everyone doing though? We'll try not to ignore you guys all too much in chat. It's going to be a little bit difficult though, running between things, but we'll be all good and up and going. I'm just going to find that server password. How's the music levels too, by the way? This is something new we're trying out. Got a bit of Spotify running in the back, some string beats, and then see how that all works out for us. Hopefully it goes okay. Titan Saw Orbit 2 Great Six Nation. I haven't seen any results of those. Yoran? Have to go and check that out later. Playing too much on the Oaks and UMRV, if there's such a thing. There's no such thing as playing too much, is there? No such thing. Right. So we've got an exciting competition lined up today. We've got a good number of teams and everything like that all registered. 6 matches, 2 teams matches, and 4 solo matches. So the solos are something we really haven't done too much of lately. So it'll be exciting to see what happens there. Now, still looking for the server password. It's a good start, Argsy. Good start. Professional. Professional as always. Can't find it. Can't find it. Not in the server details tab. I don't think it's that. Pretty sure it changed from that. Oh goodness.
Good evening, Argsy. Are you there?
FSG, welcome along. I must say, I've embarrassed you a little bit because I had our dual face screens up and you were sitting there patiently waiting for your intro to finish and I was chatting along, so.
That's alright.
Yeah.
That's par for the course, right?
It is par for the course.
live filming, right? So
that's right.
I am currently logging into the server still. It's just taking its time to log in. So what are you looking forward to tonight, mate? This is it.
This is it. This is Logging League
Here,
round
the
1.
official league.
It is. What I'm looking forward to is finding the server password so I can log in. I can't remember what that is. So I'm off to a good start as well. But what I'm most looking forward to is probably the solos, actually. I'm quite excited to see how that works out because we haven't run a 1v1v1 solo competition yet. So.
Correct, we haven't. So yeah, that's going to be fun and something new for everybody. Actually, as a new format in solos tonight, which is good. And we've kind of left it loose, haven't we? We've got a couple of different options available. So
that's right. That's right. Right, we're logging in. We've got it. Hamish has come through clutch. Farmer Hamish, big shout outs to him for all his hard work that he's done over the last few days and weeks, getting this all set up and communicating with all the teams 100%. And everything like that. So obviously, first things, huge thanks always to Thrustmaster and G-Portal for being on board and sponsoring the events. Great to have you guys here, and we'll talk more about that as we go through. But do you want to introduce the teams, FSG? Do you want to go through what we've got coming up first, what round, what match, and what we're doing?
I will indeed. So we're going to start off with 3v3 teams tonight. We have got... we've been planning this, but there we go. We're going to have 2 rounds tonight with the 3v3 teams. We've got 3v3 teams. The Pinnacle Loggers, Kegarino, Gaming with James, and Sharp Farmer, who have been with us through all the test events, actually, which is interesting because we have put them up against Astragon Entertainment. Now, if you don't know who they are one of the big teams from the Farm Sim League. So very accomplished in competitive farming. And it'll be interesting to see if the knowledge that the Pinnacle Loggers have built up over time versus the experience of Astragon, who will come out on top there. So I'm excited for that one. I don't know if you are, Args, but...
I certainly am, yes. No, that's going to be a great first matchup, and I'm obviously pretty excited to have someone with the pedigree of Astragon joining in and becoming part of this, hopefully. Who knows, we could see more FSL League teams coming in and maybe being embarrassed because it's going to be a bit of a challenge. It's out of their comfort zone, a little bit different. And then we've got a second match this afterwards. Pick a Palette, who are also another team which have been heavily involved right from the outset. Akiki, Samu, Tero, and Muex there is their 4th player, and they're also coming up against Astragon Entertainment. So again, it'll be interesting to see the outcome of all of those.
It really will. It really will. And I've got to say thank you to everyone that's signed. Still got spaces. So if people are interested, I think Args and I have both got our links at the top of the chat in our chat, live chat there. So if you want anything information-wise, go and join the Discord. Go and find out what's going on there, and we will be able to get you involved and joined in. And the whole point of this is This is about inclusion and enjoyment. This isn't an elitist league. This isn't about people who've done this before. If you just want to have a go and are looking forward to it, come join in, right? Because we'd really like to have you involved.
That's right. We certainly would. The more the merrier. It'll be interesting. These streams could end up potentially quite long, depending on what we end up with there with teams.
That's right. That's right. So we've got to see how we go today. But we've got some interesting teams coming up. We've got some interesting battles, and we'll talk about the 1v1 stuff in a little while. But I think first and foremost, I think we're going to jump pretty much straight into the first game, aren't we?
I think we are. So it looks like from where the teams are all set up, we're over here at course number 2, which is the little arena course. So I'm just going to jump into my big screen. Hopefully Hamish is all good and the boys and girls are all ready to go. And we'll have a look here.
We're about to do the same as well. Let me just jump to... I could remember which buttons I'm pressing.
Oh no, there's too many screens now. It's becoming a full-on production for everyone behind the scenes. The effort that's gone into the transitions the FSG's put together, the scoreboards, everything like that. We're trying to lift our game. We're trying to lift our game. So just one other thing too, just to mention, if you want to watch both perspectives, of course we do have Lazy Goat set up there. You can go along and have both streams up in one window, so you can get different perspectives from all the different cameras.
That is correct. Yes, you can find that. It's in my description. I think it's in your description as well, Args, isn't it? And,
yeah, correct.
Wonder if any of our admins that are in chat would like to just post it in the chat as well, just so they can see it. Yes. No, I can't see any player names here, which is interesting.
Have you got that turned off in your settings?
I thought I turned it back on, but I have. Why isn't it showing?
You're hiding your HUD hidden ruins that, unfortunately.
Will be exactly it. Yes, so I'm gonna have to. We're gonna have to go with HUD, folks.
We are. I was just thinking the same thing.
There we go.
Right, there we go. Can see everyone here now. It looks like we're just waiting for one of the Astragon guys to either get logged in or get down here and join us, and then we'll be all ready to go. Do you want to go through this course for a little bit for anyone who's joining us for the first time, FSG? Explain what is happening, and I guess the premise of what Logging League is all about.
Yes, indeed. So, yes, we'll look at this first course first. This is, what you see here is different machinery from both teams, actually, because this is the first time they've been allowed to choose their own machinery. And what we've got is a log grab, a tree cutter, and we've also got our trailer here and our front loader. The premise is they have to reverse the truck into this parking space here, load up the container, and then they take the container into the arena, and then it's basically a race to get the container filled as quickly as possible. Once they are full, they head up to the northern sawmill and unload, and the first person to deliver will obviously be classed as the first over the line, but depending on how they've loaded their container, they may get a penalty. So we've got to maximize the amount of wood in the container. So 6-meter logs are optimal. So if you haven't put 6 meters all the way through your container, you may lose time based on the value of your container as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's pretty much sums it up perfectly. Now, I do believe that Astragon in this match are the red team, so they'll be on the right-hand side there. So they've gone with the, looks like the Komatsu tree cutter. They've gone with the big Volvo grab with the swivel front, which is interesting to see. And on the other side of the fence, looks like the other team over here, remember their name, the Pinnacle Loggers. They have the, what's the name of this one? The Rotney cutter, and the Volvo there with the grab. And I wonder if Kigarino's going to be running the grab with the Volvo. It'll be interesting to see who jumps in here, because he was pretty adept at it last week. And when we ran the same course and we had these same two loader setups, he could pretty much load the container in the same time as the other team. So it'll be interesting to see how this one pans out.
Also, two different tactics as well with the high grab from the Volvo. Obviously, it can take a lot of logs in one go versus the obviously slightly smaller grab on the Volvo excavator there. So it's going to be interesting to see how these different tactics work out, isn't it?
It certainly is. It certainly is. I think we're just about all ready to go. We've got our 6 players in here, 3 and 3, and we'll just be waiting for a countdown and a launch from Farmer Hamish.
So here we go with the very first official round of Logging League 2023. Like I said in my chat before I started, it's taken a long time to get to this point. It's been a whole heap of hard work, and we're really, I think, very excited to get this off. So there we go. Farmer Hamish, starters orders.
All right, we'll get Sharp Farmer over here. Le Mans style start, so everyone starts over here by the little side-by-side, and it's a sprint to your equipment. So we'll get the go from Farmer Hamish. We'll talk a little bit about points as well and how they score points and what we go. There we are. But players are underway, and we've got everyone heading over. Gaming with James is going for the jumping tactic. Wonder if that gets him there faster or not. But here's into the Rotney, and he will be starting to make his way into the arena.
So Gaming with James, first mover advantage with the cutter. He's already on his way in there. Completely forgot what it was called there. Kegarino following not far behind. Now Baumatzi's in as well, not far behind. Now I'm going to focus just for a little while on both Sharp Farmer and Major Malone here as they reverse their trailers into the slots. Now the key here is you cannot lift the container over the fence.
Yeah, so an added little challenge there to keep the truck drivers busy while the few trees get cut down and everyone gets started in here. But interestingly, Baumatzi with that Komatsu, it must be a faster machine. So while they've gone for, and he was a little bit behind, getting to first cut tree is actually a lot closer than I was expecting. And Gaming with James does have his first tree in the grab, and it has gone timber. And Baumatzi is lining up and not too far behind. So interesting little start there to see how they're going. What's happening with the trucks?
Interesting. Well, Malone is very... In fact, Sharp and Malone, I would say, neck and neck at the moment, give or take one maneuver. I would say maybe Sharp's ever so slightly ahead, loading his up, but Major Malone is right behind him. This is going to be neck and neck. It's all going to be down to how they enter the arena, actually, I think. Decision-making time when they enter the arena.
Yeah, interesting. So Gaming with James has got a second tree down. Bao Matzi had a little bit of an issue trying to grab his first one, but he has that cut now. Hopefully he's got it set to the 6 meters, and he is getting his first tree cut into lengths. A little bit messy though, so interesting. These guys who are used to running combines, balers, loading bales and things like that are maybe just struggling a little bit to start off with here with the logging equipment. So interesting to see how this carries on.
Sharp Farmer is away with his truck here. He is getting organised, whilst Major Malone is actually, he's got his container stuck on the fence here. He's got a little bit of a problem here in terms of organising his. So he's having to lift off again and reposition to get it dropped in and locked on. Now, one of the rules we have told the guys tonight, we had a little bit of an issue with floating containers in the last test round. So no attaching of your containers using straps.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Major Malone. Major Malone had his trailer reversed too far back, so actually when it's attaching, it's getting stuck on the fence. So he's back again, having to get organised here. Could be in a whole heap of trouble here, actually. The guys from Astragon.
Well, it's just interesting watching them. Obviously, logs are a whole lot different to grab with a grab like this than bales are with forks, and they're actually getting quite tidy. Calamaris is running their Volvo high lift, and he's starting to get these logs lined up, which is going to give them a big amount. Kigarino, though, just about knocked the truck over. He has got 3 or 4 logs into their container, but in swinging things around, just about gave the truck a side swipe and just about knocked it over on its side. So they're working in pretty confined areas here, and need to be aware of where each player is around them. Got a deer down here spectating as well. Not scared off by the equipment.
Now we've got, I'm not sure if this is a glitch or it is actually stuck on the fence here, but we have got a stuck container with Astragon here. I'm sure Hamish will be keeping an eye on this and trying to work out what he's going to do to resolve this if it's a glitch in the game. But Major Malone's working around the issue at the moment, actually. He's gone round to the other side and he's going to try and lift it off. It could well be stuck.
Oh, that'd be a disaster if that is the case. A bit frustrating. I wonder if deleting and demoing the fences could be the fix for that one.
Yes, I think that might be the solution. We'll leave that one to Hamish to sort.
Yeah. I do know Farmer Hamish has spent a lot of time testing out the container issues we had last time to make sure we avoided having any of the repeat of that, and I think he only managed to replicate the issue once across dozen or more playtests, so we'll just have to wait and see. Keggs is doing a great job here. He's got 3 logs picked up in the Volvo grapple all at one go, so very impressed. But Calamaris over on the other side has a lot of logs prepped, so if we can get that container for Astragon unloaded or loaded onto the truck and in here, they're going to have a lot ready to go, and that high lift can really pick up a huge amount of logs, and they could catch up quite easily. Good.
I think we might have quite a terminal issue here with this container, though, which is frustrating. I still can't work out if it's stuck or it is just stuck on the fence. I'm confused. I'm not sure if it's a glitch or it has just actually got itself stuck on the fence.
Yeah, it's interesting. It does seem to be sort of teetering there, doesn't it, on the different fences? So, oh,
it does. There we go. I think it is loose. I genuinely do. I think the issue here is fencing. I'm just wondering if we can delete those fences for ease.
Yes.
That is an unfortunate start for the guys, isn't it?
It is, and it does show where they haven't really had a chance to practice and get in here and have a go, and they're new to this whole event, is what sort of issues they can come up against. So it does
tell you
show.
what, though, some deft skills from Major Malone to manoeuvre this into a position where he can grab it again. I'm impressed with that. So, and actually, at the moment, it's not causing a huge issue. I mean, they have got a backlog of logs here, but it is allowing both Bauer and Calamaris the opportunity to get their logs stacked and ready.
Yes, it is certainly allowing them there, and like I said, that high lift could probably pick up half a container in one go if they've got them stacked neatly and have the chance to get it. But just looking over here on the Pinnacle loggers, Kegarino's got probably about a third, maybe a quarter of the container loaded up. I'd just like to take a chance while we're just looking here at Kegs and remind everyone that he plays with his mouth. He uses a mouthpiece to control everything. He blows air into different little pipes, and that's what gives him his controls. And when you see what he's doing here with this Volvo loader excavator, it's pretty darn impressive to think what he's having to do to control it.
Yeah, no, it is indeed very impressive. Now, Hamish has actually removed a few of the fences here to allow Major Malone to get the container hooked on, and he has finally got it into place. So hopefully now, if he can drop this on and it locks into position, again, remember we're not using straps here because we think that may have a slight issue with the way that it's locking on, but it doesn't look particularly straight. I think there might be a slight issue with this as well, but he's moving. He is finally on his way in. So let's see how we go from here.
I can see from the angle I'm looking at, FSG, that container does not look too secure on there, so he's going to have to be careful as he's driving around. I hope he's got it on the right way with the doors as well. It does look like he has, but it does give them a chance potentially to catch up. He may even go and grab the loader while they're putting some in and potentially try and get that lined up a little bit better. But proves the point of why accuracy rather than speed might be the key there for the truck drivers, making sure they're precise with their movements and how they get those containers loaded up, because the guys in here cutting can certainly get a good pile of logs set up and ready to go.
That's right, and of course the Astragon guys do have the opportunity to have another go at this, as they are playing in the second round as well tonight.
That's right, they are, and I think we're going to be doing that at the other site just up the hill rather than down
That's
here.
Right. So Calamaris straight in with some logs there, very impressive. He was lined up and ready to go, so actually that long amount of time that they were waiting to get their container has not really slowed them down. I think they are going to be pulling close to the guys very, very quickly.
Indeed, I'm just watching him grab that load there. That is a massive stack of logs that he had ready staged to get into the container. So if he can get all of those put in without any hassles, then that's certainly going to be a major advantage for them. You've probably got a better angle over there. Look at that.
They have filled, they are neck and neck now. It has gone from being wildly behind, or perceived to be wildly behind, to neck and neck now.
This might demonstrate the advantage of different equipment. So while Keggs is well versed with that excavator, the benefits there of the high lift and how much it can carry in one go is certainly giving them an advantage. And from this side, did they just manage to bump that on so it was better locked in place too? It could have been.
That's
they
correct.
used the Volvo.
Again, some brilliant teamwork from Calamaris and Major Malone there to get that bumped on. And at the same time, I'm watching Kegarino with that small grab with a rather large load of logs as well. So they again have just, I would say, snuck ahead quite quickly there.
They have. I think they are. He's definitely here on the blue team on the left. Pinnacle loggers do have the load advantage, and while Calamaris did have a great stack of logs there ready to go, they're just trying to get that lined up there and using the truck and movements from the loader all at the same time to try and get things working.
Now we are at a point now where the Astragon guys have got a lot of logs lying around, but they're all over the place. They're not in neat piles, so Calamaris is having to grab logs one by one here rather than in big piles, which is probably slowing them down ever so slightly.
It's interesting how all the teams, or both teams, have sort of worked into the corner, and they're actually down here working very, very closely to each other. They don't have a lot of space to manoeuvre, which obviously it's good because you're close to where the trees were cut. You're not having to haul or move anything too far. But at the same time, it does mean you're having to be very mindful of where each other are, where the other equipment is, and one wrong move with one or the other could see something knocked over, tip over, anything like that. So certainly interesting to see the coordination here as a group.
Now again, there's teamwork going on here between Calamaris and Major Malone. It's clear these guys play a lot together in Farm Sim League, because Major Malone is moving the truck every time there's a different pile for Calamaris to pick up, and they're actually using
Well, it's not super
Yeah,
strength.
even teamwork to their advantage. Yeah, so that was interesting. There must have been a log that was light enough to be able to be picked up there, because they moved that to get the pile a little bit neater as well. So again, this is a big load that Calamaris has picked up here. But then on the other side as well, Kegarina's got some rather large logs there, so he's going to definitely fill that container a little bit more as well. Now Calamaris has rotated as well. There, he's first time I've seen him do that, rotated the grab on that large high lift so he could walk them in a lot smoother.
What interests me with them taking that smaller log there is whether it's of length. You know, we obviously have a penalty there if you deliver less and earn less. Even if you're the first team, there's a potential there if it's too different that you could actually lose. There's a time penalty of 1 minute for every $1,000 less than the other team that you generate. So there is a chance if they took a mis-sized log that they could be disadvantaged.
It's close though. It's really close.
I agree.
There is not much in this.
I'm just looking at Kegarino here. He's trying to find a log to grab. There's a couple here that Gaming with James has got lined up. There's a couple right in front of his loader, but I think he's just struggling to either reach far enough or grab the ones that are too close. And looking over the fence, it looks like the Astragon team there have a very nicely compiled stack of logs that Calamaris is going to try and grab.
And Calamaris has just actually plucked out one log that he was maybe thinking wasn't the 6 meter length that they need. So that was interesting as well.
So I think
if Astragon can pull this back after those issues with the container at the start, it will be very impressive.
It will be. Just goes to show how composed they stayed, because that could fluster some teams and sort of start thinking, yeah, this isn't for me, or we've lost it, but they've stuck with it and they have a chance to get back in here. I think both teams have enough logs on the ground cut and ready to go. It's just a case of getting them grabbed, picked up and put into the container.
I honestly think that Astragon have filled their container now. I'm just waiting to see what will happen in terms of Major Malone. Will he shut the doors and close the ramps? I think he's away. I think they may be done here.
That is some turnaround.
No, I don't think they are, because Major Malone is reversing again to get into position. So they're maybe just one log short, one small log short. But he's working out a route in between all the logs lying on the ground, so when he does get that final log in, he can just gun it straight out of the arena.
I'm just watching to see whether that log that Calamaris, that did go into the container, so it's obviously not full. It took that whole log.
Yeah. But I think Major Malone's gone to the back doors now. Is he closing the back doors here? They are away now. You need to be careful here with these containers, because they're not latched down, they're not strapped down. So if you take a corner too hard or you clip something, you can tip them off the trailer, which is interesting.
It is.
So there has to be an element of being careful with these as you head out.
Yeah. So we've just watched Kegs just put a couple of logs in the back, and it hasn't quite filled their container. I think they're probably only 2 logs away from having a full load. So if you can grab hold of these 2 that are just sitting here, he'll be good to go. James is bringing more over, but I don't think that's going to be any advantage for them at this stage.
So Major Malone is out of the arena and he is heading up to the sell point. They haven't, in fact, latched the back of the container. Only one strap at the very back of the container. It will be interesting to see if that causes any issues in the unload arena. But they are away. They are away. What a turnaround from the Astragon guys. That is impressive.
That's an impressive turnaround. And I think just a few little issues here on Pinnacle Loggers with Kegarino getting the last of the few logs in, because they've certainly, just looking at the matchsticks lying around on the ground down here, they certainly had enough cut to be able to get ahead and stay ahead. But just the difficulties and the benefits of the different equipment starting to show through there a little bit.
I'm going to jump up the map slightly here and arrange position, because I'm fully expecting Astragon to head the most direct route to the northern sawmill. So I would expect to see them coming up the road any second now as the train goes past.
Kigarino's got another log here getting loaded in. Tino in the background I've just noticed, and this is a sign of professionalism. Calamaris and Baumatzi have taken the the cutter and the loader. They've gone and lined them up out the front, put them back where they were. It's pretty professional to not just leave them lying around. So we must be getting towards...
I might have missed this, but Major Malone stopped in town for some reason. I don't know what for.
Although they're confident they're winning, he's stopped for a coffee.
Yeah, he stopped for a bite to eat.
Yeah.
But here he is at full tilt, coming towards us now.
Oh, we're getting the container door closed down here for Pinnacle Farmers. They've also put a couple of straps across the top of the containers. So again, fingers crossed it doesn't cause any issues. But Sharp Farmer is in the truck. He's taking his way out of the course, and he's clipped one of the fences on the way out. Accuracy, I think, is going to be the aim of the game here. A few seconds, as we've just seen, can make all the difference. But there we go, Sharp Farmer's turning out. He's heading out of the fences, and he'll be out on the road very, very soon. So we're not too far behind.
Excellent. Well, I am at the Northern Sawmill here. Both Calamaris and Bauer have made their way up here to watch as Major Malone arrives. So he has clipped a car coming into the sawmill. He's got away with it as he's crossing the tracks there, but that could have ended up being a lot more difficult than it was. That horrible track, that horrible crossing. In fact, he's got stuck on the crossing.
Oh, dramas.
He's got stuck on that horrible crossing, which should have been fixed in the update.
I'm just waiting here for Sharp Farmer. We're down at the gas station in town, just waiting for him to arrive on the way.
Here's Major Malone now. He is going into the space. The container has gone.
All right. Interestingly enough, because we're on a different farm, we don't actually see how much they've earned. So we'll have to get the final ruling when we look at the scoreboard, and we'll go and see what they made compared to the other team. I'm just waiting here. Sharp Farmer hasn't made it past the roller coaster.
What a fantastic turnaround by those guys from Astragon. I mean, from being... I genuinely thought their game was over with that container the way it was stuck.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sharp Farmer's just come around the corner by the roller coaster, heading past the train station. He's on his way up to FSG, so keep an eye out. He's fully strapped on now, so they didn't want any risks losing that container. Fingers crossed. Get it sold when we get to the other end.
A little question from Rob Plays Games in my chat. Is it still console versus PC? You can play. We've kept it multi-platform, so yes, if you're on any console, you are welcome to join and play, except for Seamus Murphy, who seems to not want to play. So we are waiting now. Gaming with James is waiting for his teammate to arrive.
Kigarino standing down here on the platform to see the result as well. I can just see him coming around the corner, the last corner before he gets down here. FSG, he must be pretty close to where you are.
Sharp Farmer has arrived at speed. He is not hanging around for anybody. Again, they're taking this route. It's interesting, both trucks have taken this route where with these very challenging level crossings. And he's actually knocked his container off center here, so he needs to be very careful going over this next crossing. And he's actually avoided the crossing altogether and just hit the tracks, which is interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so he's just coming there under the wood chip conveyor and on his way here into the sell point. We'll just wait and see if we're going to get that container disappearing. And it does. So there we go.
And it's
Pinnacle Farmers coming in here in second place. Well, we'll wait and see on the final judging there with the points and money and income like that and how everything goes. But that is the end of our very first match. Our 3v3 between Team Astragon Entertainment and the Pinnacle Loggers. So I think the big thing about that, the big takeaway from that one, FSG, is the turnaround that we saw from Astragon.
Yes. And I think it just proves, right, you can be quite it doesn't take much to pull things back, which is amazing.
That's right.
Just want to say, Farmer King George is asking in the chat here, can you join? Anybody can join Farmer King George. If you look at the top of the chat there in the pinned post, there's the Discord, the official Farm Sim League Discord. Join up there, and you can all the instructions and all the things that you need to know to join in are there. So by all means, get stuck in. Right,
Absolutely.
I am going to jump over to the 3v3 results. This is going to be a test to see if this works.
Has it been updated? I wanted to give Hamish a chance to put the information in there, so we're just sitting on the screen. Yeah. But I think for me the biggest takeaway from that match, FSG, is the difference the two loaders made. Not questioning the ability of the operators, but just the way that Estrogen could make a comeback by being able to pick up so many logs at once. I think if they had the same Volvo excavator that the Pinnacle loggers were using, I don't think they would have had quite that turnaround.
I think that's a valid point. That high grab just can hold so much in terms of amount of logs in one grab, that it definitely was a little bit of an advantage there for sure.
That's right.
So I'm going to tactically jump to the results and just hope for the best.
I just keep it on the slide and it has been updated. So we'll take a look here.
Excellent. A little bit of a foregone conclusion in the end, but it doesn't really tell a story of the. It doesn't really tell a story of the match, actually.
Well, interestingly, as you say that.
Well, I'm looking at it now, and I'm like,
I think we might have
trying to work out.
There's $2,500 difference between income, and we've got 2 minutes. So, oh gosh, I think we haven't nailed it down to that much difference. I think the $2,000 is a 2-minute penalty, which would take Estrogen up to 20.08, which would actually leave less than a second between the two teams.
That's insane.
Wow,
that is insane. We're gonna verify. That's too close to make a call on, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
we are gonna just verify that.
But
if that is the case, that's ridiculous that ended up being a second different, which just goes to prove sometimes making sure that your logs are the right length can have a huge impact on the end result. So,
it did, and we commented on that when they were loading, was taking those small logs that you could handle by hand might have been undersized and could have actually been the difference there. And perhaps the pressure of being so far behind at the start meant they grabbed those without really even considering it and thinking about it. So
that's right.
I think being that close, we'll have to go to the director for a final adjudication on that rule. So
we will indeed.
We'll get that clarified, and we'll get that out to you as soon as we know. But I think now we've got a couple of minutes, and we're going to move into a 1v1v1 match. Yep,
we are indeed. We are indeed. So I suppose that's probably a good opportunity, Args, isn't it? Jump in and talk about our sponsors, THRUSTMASTER, and say a big thank you to them. For their support. We have got links in our descriptions of the vid as well, so go and check their stuff out. If you haven't played logging or farming full stop with one of their T16000 joysticks, it changes the game quite considerably. The control you have and the ease of doing things like logging is really, really improved with a joystick. So
they have
genuinely, I think they're a fantastic addition.
Absolutely.
If you fancy them.
They have. I love mine. I've got the dual setup. They're ambidextrous, so they have this cool little attachment which you can attach and screw on one side, and it makes it so it's left and right-handed. You can see there in that little image. Fantastic addition, and particularly when you're using excavators, that's where I've really, really enjoyed it. So running something like Kigarino there was a lot of fun using those THRUSTMASTER T16000s.
And also a big shout out actually to the guys at G-Portal, to Dave and the guys at G-Portal who are providing all the servers for tonight's games, and they are running super smooth.
That's right.
We've got a global set of teams. There's people from Europe, there's people from the States, and even Args casting there from sunny New Zealand. So nice to see that no matter where you are in the world, you can play together with your mates on Farm Sim with G-Portal servers.
That's right. So I'm just heading on down to our next venue, where we hopefully will see some solo players queue up and join in with us very soon.
Yes, indeed. So this is, I'm just checking we're in the right place at the moment. And I will say, actually, Tobias has just put in my chat, I wish I had some T16000s. Stay tuned to Logging League over the next couple of months, because we are going to have some giveaways and some prizes to be able to give out to lucky viewers. So, it might be well worth coming back and checking things out over the next couple of months. We are going to run this monthly basis, aren't we, Args?
Correct, yeah. So we've already a few there is a schedule that we've set. So first Saturday for me, but first Saturday of every month for the next, well, 4 months if we don't count today, next 5 rounds, leading into a grand finals in July. That's still to be confirmed when that exactly will be. There's a few things happening around that time of year that we need to factor in. But yeah, 5 rounds. Might be time to talk a little bit about the scoring and how that's all going to work, FSG, because, and I'm just looking in Discord, Farmer Hamish has called it a 2.5 second penalty there for Astrodragon Entertainment, which gives the win to Pinnacle.
Yeah, Pinnacle have won that by 31 seconds after the calculations have been on. So that is not what I was expecting, I have to say. I haven't seen Astrogon turn up so far ahead of the guys.
Absolutely.
But it just goes to show accuracy and attention to the length of the logs can make a huge difference to the result. So
that's right.
Fair play to the Pinnacle guys. Bravo, well done.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to update that scoreboard to show those penalties being applied and having a final decision too. That's something to improve on in the future, and we're always looking to improve. So any feedback and comments would be appreciated as well. What you think we could do better, what you enjoyed the most. But obviously, bear in mind that was only our first match, and we now are going to line up all the solos.
That's right. So we are waiting. Hamish is frantically working in the background, arranging the teams, pulling them together. So in the interim, we'll maybe have a little look at this new course, actually, Args, because we haven't seen, and the viewers test streams that we did, we won't have seen this one yet. This is a 3v3 course, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Sorry, a 1v1v1, so three people running at once. That's
right, it is. And I think we've got an interesting setup here with one of the teams, or one of the players has actually gone with a forwarder for their loading device. So they've got the Team Red here on the right. I'm not sure who that will be, but they've got the Komatsu set up here, but they've gone for the forwarder. Wow. So they can load logs into that and then transfer them into the container there on the back of the truck.
Interesting setup.
Yeah, but very similar in terms of the last one we were at. Fenced area, there's a few trees in here to cut, obviously a few of the protected sequoias you need to navigate around, and then the fences here that you need to get out and drive out on your way to the store. A little bit longer drive, we're just a little bit further down the road from where we were on the last arena, but in general, very much the same, so interesting. Get into this. The hardest part with this, and obviously this was the first event that we ran FSG between yourself and me, was doing it all yourself and trying to figure out the best way to tackle those kind of things.
That's right. We've got a couple of guys joining into the server. So there with us a couple of minutes. But yes, it's I'll just wait for my screen to clear and I will actually show you the course. There's something nice about this 1v1v1 course is that there is the identical amount of trees in each of the 3 areas as well. Yep. So nobody's at any advantage or disadvantage. They've got exactly the same trees and exactly the same positions to choose from. So
that's right.
It does make it very even.
We'll just wait for those few players to join, and then we'll be able to take a look at the course. But while we're doing that, just wanted to talk a little bit about how the points are going to work out for the 2 different game modes. So 3v3, the matches we've just seen. To encourage participation, everyone who enters will get given 10 points as a starting point. So the idea is we want you to participate, we want to get teams in here. So everyone will have 10 points to start with. Then it's just basically head-to-head, 20 points for the winner, no points for coming second. So you could potentially walk away with 30 points per match, or 10 points per match. That is the intention there. Because we have, we can't guarantee everyone's going to be available each and every round. There is best 4 rounds, so you do drop your worst performing one. So if you missed a round and you want to join in next time, you're not disadvantaged. You don't have to score for every round. So that's how that has been done. And then the 1v1v1 is basically a 20 points or 25 points. I can't remember what we settled on in the end there, but basically it's just a sliding scale depending on how many players there are. 25, 15, 10, 5 if we've got 4 players in a match. So
big shout out to Baumatzi, who's said a big thank you in my chat here. So appreciate it, Bauer, and thank you. It has actually been a privilege having some real FSL teams and the quality in there. And actually, for people who may want to join in the future, it's brilliant to watch these streams and maybe potentially get some tips and ideas for how they would approach it if they want to join in the future.
100%.
So here we are. The team. And Bargon, I believe, if he's here somewhere. I think we've got our first 3 players.
We do. They're down here at the side by side.
Go.
So, do you just want to go through the course quickly, FSG?
Yes. Let me jump back. I'm trying to work out. Too many buttons on my on my stream deck. So here is the course. As I said, they are exactly the same amount of trees in each area. They've got some fences to negotiate, as we saw in the last 3v3 round as well. So it's not all plain sailing, but if you position your vehicles right, you should have no issues getting in and out. They have selected their own machinery, so this is their machinery of choice as well. It's not what's been given to them. It's not a bit of a lottery, so they have chosen these, so they should be comfortable with it. So Farmer Hamish is under starter's orders.
He is. So it'll be interesting to see the difference here in the equipment. But obviously, if you're familiar with using something other than the equipment, it does mean you can choose that and also know what you can practice with. So if you want to get in there and practice. We're just looking at the teams
so Charlie,
here.
Pinnacle Loggers, even though they finished second on the road, were the winners that time due to more value in their logs.
That's right.
And we are off here.
Yes, I've headed down here. We're on the right-hand side with Bargon. So Bargon has gone with the forwarder. He must be Team Komatsu because he's got the Komatsu tree harvester and the Komatsu forwarder there to load. So let's just keep an eye here. I'm going to watch from this end of FSG. Maybe you're down the other end and we'll just see what happens. But first tree down here for Bargon. I can see Tobias has his first one cut and they're actually almost in sync as they process the trees. It's quite interesting to see that.
I was going to say, Tobias and Bargon in pure synchronization there. Samu has got his first tree down as well. He's manoeuvring into position rather than cutting it straight away, which is an interesting tactic to buy himself a little bit of extra space.
So, watching Bargon here, he purposefully threw away the tip of the tree and hasn't got it in his pile. So he's very mindful of that penalty that could be could come across. He is now cutting down his second tree, and he's getting a nice little stack going along here. So,
I'd say Tobias has got a rather nice load lined up as well here, so he's going to give himself the best opportunity there to have an organised pile for when he starts to load his container.
We're just going to head along the front here and just check out some of the other guys, but Tobias and Bargon are certainly very much in sync with the trees they've cut. They've gone for the same 2 trees as the layout suggests, and they're now heading, in fact, to the same 3rd tree. These guys really are truly in sync. Samu's gone for a little bit of a different option. Samu's just picked
up his second tree, yep. He's doing his own thing down there in the corner. But Tobias on his 3rd tree here. Yeah, these two are running really in sync here. The only difference between Tobias and Bargon I can see here is that Tobias's trees are all lined up roughly in the same direction, whereas Bargon's got sitting at 45 degrees to each other, 90 degrees to each other actually. So he might have a little bit more of a challenge when he's loading those up. Absolutely.
Now, Tobias, I'm very impressed with his stacking and loading there. He's trying to make his job as easy as possible to just position the truck once and be able to pick those logs up with the Volvo excavator he has there and throw them straight into the back of the container. So that's a bit of a strategy. Be interesting to see again how it pays out. Bargon, because he's got the forwarder, he can drive in and around in between them, pick them up in one stack, and then move them over to the container as well. So again, I'll be interested to see how this forwarder works out, because it could be an advantage, although there is a lot of double handling if you're going to throw them on the back of the forwarder and then try and get them into the back. Oh, Bargon's just about tripped himself over down here. He's well up on only one side of the... Oh, he's so close to going over. His tree's got caught on the fence and he is going in all sorts of funny ways. But he's stuck with it. He's stayed committed with that tree and he has managed to get himself unstuck. Although, he's now stuck on one of the small trees in the corner. So this is actually turned into a little bit of an issue here for Bargon. He's jumping out. I wonder if he might get hold of the chainsaw. No, he's left his tree processor here parked in the corner, stuck on some trees, and he's going straight into loading. So he must be confident he has enough logs on the ground to get his container full.
Rob Plays Games in my chat is saying, do you have to cut all the trees down before load? No, Rob, as long as you fill that container, you can cut one tree down, load it, come back for a second, load it again, or you can cut as much as you want down and try and load the container in one go. It's entirely up to you. Samu down in the corner here is working away quietly, but he's got a couple of fantastically large piles ready to go. He's crossing his second, crossing over with a pile here as well, so maybe thinking about speed rather than position there may cause him some issues, but I don't know. It does look very organised, and he's quietly getting on with it very nicely.
I'll tell you what, if you want to...
It's fast loading.
Oh,
Jeez, oh.
I was just going to say, if you want a lesson on how to use a forwarder effectively and efficiently and fast, that is quite possibly the most impressive loading I have ever seen, myself included.
So here's a question, Args.
Yes.
Those logs are pretty long. Is he going to drive up the back of the pickup, of the low loader, and just drive those straight into the container?
Do you know, that thought crossed my mind as well.
Is he going to have to double handle here or not?
I wondered exactly the same thing, and I'm intrigued. I'm really interested to see, because this would be a sort of game changer for a lot of teams, I think. If they can see this succeeding,
It really would.
this might change the makeup and composition of your equipment selections next time. You still have to be confident loading, and he's just about lost those. Is he going to get them strapped on? But yeah, I think there could be this could be a game changer. We're only into our second ever match of the logging league.
Yes, indeed. Well, Samu and Tobias are both into loading now. Both moved their trucks. Both got their containers on. Are running pretty close to each other. Some impressive loading from Samu here as well. Goodness me, he is making short work of those piles that he's got.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you go back and watch FSG and I doing this a couple of months ago, these guys will put us to shame. I think we'll just stick to commentary looking at this.
Yes, indeed. Samu is... I am somebody who's been practicing. He's doing a phenomenal job. Tobias getting a little bit tied up here, but he's making progress still. He's getting through those logs.
So Samu...
Wow.
Sorry, FSG, I was just going to say, Samu is actually in a solo team as well, so we'll see him in one of the 3v3 teams. We're not going to see him today.
That's right.
His team's not participating due to some unavailabilities, but this is interesting because it will show up come their trios whether this could change their composition and that sort of thing too.
So Cape Cod Driver has just pointed out that Bargon released his wood harvester mod, so he is a big fan of logging anyway, which will explain the deftness that he's loaded up.
Exactly.
That forwarder.
There we go. I did not make that connection. Well, that's awesome to see, and I haven't had a play around with that mod yet, but it looked pretty impressive in the way you could change how the wood harvesters worked. So
Yeah.
explains a lot. I'd be intrigued, FSG, actually, to find out if he's got a twin set of THRUSTMASTER T16,000s that he's running, because if so, that certainly justifies using them for the equipment. But
absolutely.
he's heading
Warrants
off.
it, doesn't it?
It does. He's heading into the truck. He is driving forward. Now's going to be the moment of truth, is can he back up with that forwarder and drop the logs straight into the back of the container?
He absolutely is going to do that, isn't he? Are the ramps down? The ramps are down. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. I have to say, at the same time, Samu down in the corner there is doing some incredible loading. It's going to be close. It's going to be close between those guys. Tobias, I think, is struggling a little bit more, but he's getting through his logs as well. Oh my goodness, Tobias is almost full as well.
So Bargain's backing in, and there they go, the logs. I've gone straight in. And by unstrapping them, I was worried they were going to be sitting too high in the forwarder, but by unstrapping them, they drop further down into the... take some out of the bottom of the logs, and then he unstraps them, and the next ones drop in. So this is impressive. Tobias is off, though.
I'm going to stop you there, though. Tobias is full and away already. He's got stuck on the fence, though. And I have to say, the silent assassin Tobias, who looked like he was struggling with his load, has absolutely turned that around.
He does. Wow, that's ridiculous. And looking down here at Bargon, he's hasn't quite got enough logs to fill the container, I don't think.
But we've already coined that phrase, the Bargon backup. Thank you, Yoss, in my chat. That, I think, is something we're going to see again in the future. But we have got a clear leader at the moment as he just pulls onto the road and away over the bridge there.
So I'll head up to the
some
sell point and keep an eye on that movement.
No worries. I shall report back here as the second placed person go. Now, the Bargon backup would have been incredible if he'd had a couple of extra logs on there and managed to fill that container. But what about that? I honestly couldn't see that working. I was scratching my head to start with as to how would be able to pull that off. But he's done it.
He has. However, what loader was Tobias using? He was using the Volvo excavator, wasn't he?
He's using the same Samu is here.
Yeah.
So they had very similar kit.
Right.
Slightly different tree cutter. Now Samu has not got enough logs either. He's having to go for another tree. He's having to cut another tree down as well, which could bring Bargon back to second place actually.
All right, we've got Tobias is just heading past the roller coaster. He's cutting the corner through the shop, and he is on his way down the main road towards the sell point. So he is not too far away from getting his container offloaded and sold.
So there we go. There's a real interesting vibe here. That is it worth going for it and cutting as many trees down as you like, even if it makes you feel like you're maybe not as far ahead as some of the other guys. But Tobias went for it, cut down as many trees as he could, and actually managed to turn it around. Whereas now Samu's having to go back and load up with an extra few logs, and Bargon having to do the same as well. So it's going to be close between these two, actually. Samu looks like he's maybe one more log in his container, and he'll be away.
All right, we've just got Tobias is just coming into the sawmill here. He's just coming along the road. Just watching to see which rail crossing he's going to take. It's like he is going past the first one. He's gone past the first crossing, and he's heading down here to the second one, which makes sense. It's a more direct route once you've gone across that crossing. In fact, he's skipped that and gone to the third one. Gone on over the road.
And just to drop in there, Args, Samu is loaded now, fully loaded, getting stuck on these very tight fences as well. And Bargon, this is going to be close. They're going to approach the exit together. Samu, the gentleman, did not try and force his way in there and has let Bargon go first. But we have got Bargon and Samu heading together onto the road. Bargon's still got his ramps down at the back, which is making his trailer slide around a lot.
Is that right?
We have got a road race now to the finish. I'm going to jump into the map and jump along a little bit so we can catch them coming in the other direction.
Yeah, well, Tobias is
very, very close.
Yeah, Tobias is sold. His heart rate's like 200. He was pretty excited. Look at that in chat. Heart rate is at like 200. That's an impressive feat.
Fantastic.
He is a long way ahead. No issues with the container. He's got it sold, and he's jumping for joy down here on the train platform. We were actually quite close to catching the train too. He managed to get across probably 20 seconds ahead of the train arriving at the crossing. So I'm looking forward to the match we have when the train comes into play and can hold a team up.
Yes, indeed. But I am waiting for the 2 trucks to arrive in town here. They will not be far away now.
Come down,
unless they've gone a completely different direction that I wasn't expecting. But I think we'll see them any moment now. And here they are. And Bargon, yeah, they are still as close as they were. There's going to have to be some tactical driving here if Samu's going to get ahead of Bargon, because they are running at full tilt here.
Are they both using the same truck?
They are indeed. And Bargon has totally, in fact, they both have clipped the apex of the shop and they are heading along. I think Samu may have just pulled back a few meters. This is close. This is close.
Sim racing at its finest in Farming Simulator and the Logging League. I don't know if you've ever been and seen some truck racing, but truck racing is one of the craziest sports I've ever seen. Guys racing around in big rigs. And this is what we're getting here with a fully loaded trailer of logs.
There goes Bargon. They're not slowing down, I tell you what.
Added challenge of traffic on as well, so it could be that there's a car going the opposite direction, which could cost one of them some time. And right. We'll see how they negotiate the crossings. Will someone take the other crossing or not? We've got a bit of a lead though. I don't know what's happened to our second truck. There's probably about 100 meters, 200 meters between them.
Here he is.
Bargon coming in first.
They are close.
He's also skipped the first
interestingly,
access.
They're learning from the first 3v3 that those crossings are a little bit more unforgiving, aren't they? This one at the top here is a lot smoother.
Oh, Samu went past.
Samu's gone He's gone up the top.
Oh, he kept his momentum a little bit. But
seconds into it.
Yeah, that's
That
close.
is impressive, guy. Well done. That is what a brilliant result.
That was fantastic.
Tobias, I mean, was clearly way ahead, but what a brilliant run from Bargon and Samu there. That was fantastic.
Oh, just to see how close that was in the end, and that they kept going at it for the whole time, and to see those new tactics from Bargon, the Bargon backup, I love it.
I tell you, that is not the last time we're going to see that. That is not the last time we're going to see that.
We've got Volvo for life from Tobias. Oh, what a run. What a run. That was exciting.
It's nice to see Tobias's heart rate up at 200. Don't everybody ever tell you that Farm Sim as a game doesn't get your heart rate up, because I think that was pretty intense.
It was. It was. It had my heart rate up as well, FSG, watching that. Particularly that race. That race at the end.
I have got a grin on my face now, I have to say. That was brilliant.
We have been saying all week how much we've been looking forward to that, and the first match up and the comeback from Astragon there, that was exciting. But watching that one, that certainly raised the bar, I think. So, still got 4 more matches to go, so we don't want to get too excited too early, FSG.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it's a good start, isn't it? It's a good start. So I'm really excited to see if Astragon's hurt pride may drive them on to avenge that first defeat in the first game.
That's right. We're just waiting for the scores here to be updated, and we'll go and take a look at those. But these guys are going back to back. We're going to jump straight into another match, and this one is going to be what we've called the Chaos Course, which is purely the exact same course that you and I did in our first ever Logging League match. Down there at the shop, there's no predefined zones. It is a free for all. No space or anything to work in, so that is going to be an interesting one to see. But I'm just watching here and seeing for the scores to update, and we'll go and take a look at those to see what the times were.
That's right. But yes, that first ever game that we thought we wanted to reintroduce that as just a fun mode with we've got to cross the train tracks. You've got to get into and it's not a predefined amount of trees in there. It literally, as the map is in the base game. So I'm really excited to see the carnage that's going to go on there. It's going to be good.
It could be, and we could see some collisions, some incidents, some things that go on there, which could cause some issues and that for the teams, for the players. So yeah, likewise, pretty excited to see that one.
That's right. So it'll take us a couple of minutes just to get organised for that. While we wait for Hamish and the guys to get arranged, we will just wait for the results to pop up. Hopefully this one won't need any mathematics to work out. I think it was pretty clear.
I think so.
Although it's going to be interesting between Bargu and Samu, if they've got any difference in the value of their logs in their containers, it could flip second and third.
That's right.
So we shall see.
I think we've got the scores are up and ready to go, FSG, so I'm going to take a look at those now. Solo scoreboard.
For the 1v1 results.
All right, there we go. So Tobias was obviously our clear winner there, first with 10.5 minutes. That is fast. Do you know how? I think when we first did this, it took us 17 or 18 minutes, and they've done it in 10 and from further away with a longer drive.
And they were further away.
Yeah,
that's insane. And look at the value, actually. Value between Samu and Bargon, we're talking like
$70.
Less than $100. Yeah.
And no change because...
That's right. I mean, Tobias was so far ahead that actually the difference brings his time a little bit closer, but ultimately he was way ahead.
Very clear winner. Very clear winner.
Impressive.
So that'll give Tobias 25 points. Bargon will walk away with 15 from that, and Samu will get 10 points out of that result. So we'll certainly have a scoreboard and a leaderboard and that will get updated. There is a website we're working on as well, FSG, in the background, that'll go live very soon, where you'll be able to keep a track of all of the upcoming matches, the results, the scores, and any highlights packages or anything like that. Relive the Logging League through the streams, watching those later.
That's right, and it's worth saying as well that there are prizes from THRUSTMASTer for the people who come out on top in the league. We're not just doing this for fun. There's some cold hard prizes at the end of this. So
absolutely.
If you want to get involved, as Arg said before, you are not penalised by missing tonight. You can pick your 4 main events from any of the events over the next 6 months. Mm-hmm. So you can drop your maybe poorest results and things like that, and it's going to make things really close at the end of the season, isn't it?
It is 100%. Now I just wondered. I noticed I had music playing in the background and it stopped, but Mrs. Argsy's gone to swimming with one of the boys and she's listening to it at the swimming. So I've lost my Spotify. So if you wonder where the music went, that's where it's gone. Have a little bit more to say about that later on.
There we go. So there you go, Args. A 3v3 and a 1v1 v1. What? Give me your takeaways. What was what grabbed you from that?
Well, there's a lot to take in. Obviously the first match there with the Astragon comeback after being a long way behind, it was great to see that. Well, when I say great to see, it was good to see the container issue was a loading problem. We didn't have any of the bugs. We've had none of those bugs come through, so that's really great to see. And just to see the professionalism of Astragon staying in there, their communication would be on point about what they're doing. I could imagine it would be great to have a listen in at some stage and hear what they're talking about. But that 1v1 v1 that got my heart rate up, and just to see the different tactics, the different bits of equipment. And I think, like you said, Tobias was a little bit of a silent assassin. I think you and I were so focused on the two end players who were very close with their logging and the tactics and technique there from Bargon with the backup. I think we lost focus.
He came out of nowhere.
He did.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere. So the guys are just selecting their equipment for the next round. I'm looking in front of myself here. So we're going to be ready to go in just a little minute. And this is a bit of a free-for-all, isn't it?
It is. There's not much space. There is one way in, one way out, and there's a whole lot of trees in there. So we could see some racing to go and get the first tree. We could see some competition on the way out. It'd be interesting to see how friendly they are with each other about where they park their trucks and things like that, because there's a bit of an opportunity to potentially inadvertently block someone. I wouldn't say anyone to do it deliberately, but there is that chance there to be a little bit of an obstruction.
Now I'm going to jump back to my game screen because I want you to see the kit that these guys Bargon is again gone for the same kit that you went for last time, so that's definitely a route that he's clearly been practicing that.
He's committed to it.
Believes it works for him. So I think it's going to be interesting. Again, maybe learning from the mistakes of the last round where he didn't have enough logs.
Yep.
Is he just going to push that a little bit further this time to get them loaded in?
That's right.
And the Bargon backup will become a viable strat for Logging League in future weeks and months.
It certainly will. Now, interesting, I'm just watching where they're parking, because again, we start with the Le Mans style race that goes from the garage across the road, and they jump in their processing unit, and we'll head in and start cutting things up. Tobias is obviously a lot slower, and in fact, be careful where you park there, Tobias, because the train will take you out very, very quickly. But Bargon's parked his processing unit right on the right hand side, and he's going to have to reverse up behind his forwarder to get that into position. So if it was me, I'd be going and claiming that middle spot right now, have all three processors across the centre, but we'll just have to observe and watch what happens here.
Interestingly, Samu's gone for the 3 wheels on the back of his truck. I wonder if there's any rationale for that, or it's not his money and he just treated himself to one of the...
Train on its way down, so this is going to be a challenge to see who's parked in the wrong place. But I think it's a farm sim rule, isn't it, FSG, that when you've got an option to put triples on a tractor, you put triples on a tractor. Is it not 100%. The same with the truck?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
I'm sure
it's just an unwritten rule.
So interestingly, Bargon's extended his low loader already. Now I'm going to have to just check a little. Is that we'll leave Farmer Hamish to work out whether or not that's allowed before the klaxon goes off at the start of the round.
There'll be a reason. There'll be a reason for that, FSG. But his loading technique to work better, he needs the container right at the very back.
That's right.
If he had the container right at the very back and didn't have to muck around quite so much with the forwarder and dropping logs in one at a time, I think it would have been a much closer battle, notwithstanding the fact he was a few logs short on that load.
Yep.
So, chance for him to come back into this.
Interesting. So I'm just watching. I'm trying to work out what's... Yeah, Bargon's picked an interesting position there for his cutting machine, hasn't he?
He has. Yep. It's going to be a challenge for him to get that extracted out of there in a quick time. I'm just waiting for Hamish is just organising the containers here. So we've got one loaded up, 2 more to go, and by then we'll be all sorted, ready to get into it.
Interestingly, Tobias has opened the back doors of his container as well. I think we might need to get those closed before the start of the round. There's some sneaky tactics going on as the guys are trying to win back every single second they can.
They are. We're just looking there, obviously. Bargon's got the purple, Samu has the green, and Tobias there in the white. Look at our truck colours. And it's an interesting lineup looking over in the back there. We've got the 3 Volvos on the left and the 3 Komatsus there on the right. So interesting how things work out. Very few people going for any of the older equipment either, the original base game sort of thing, not the Platinum DLC.
That's right, it's all Platinum stuff, isn't it?
Has been.
It's all Platinum.
Alright, we're just waiting here for Hamish to make sure he gets the door around the right way. Oh, Bargain's going to turn the truck around. Okay, backed in. So I'll be intrigued of those of you in chat, which matches have been your favourite so far. Just write down match 1 or match 2, which one you've enjoyed the most. Love to hear your comments and feedback. What was your favourite moment so far of Logging League at round 1? Which one?
There we go, Bargon's all hooked up, ready to go. So one last container for Samu, and then I think we'll be pretty much ready to go.
Yeah, we're straight into it. Looks like match 2 coming through on my chat, FSG. I don't know what you're seeing on your side, but everyone seems pretty excited about match 2. And Tanner's even commented and said the Bargain backup has been his real highlight of the matches.
The Bargain backup is spectacular.
It is.
I like that. I'm looking forward to some strats getting named over the next few rounds. So
that's right. That's right.
The 1v1 v1 was truly enjoyable from Mr. Trey Schmidt. So
there we go. What'll be interesting, because obviously Bargain's tactic, I think this is where it's going to shine when he's got the container mounted right on the very back.
Yes.
This will be where potentially he gets that real advantage. Yoss has come in with pancakes. Now, I think we'll look for something original. Yoss, this is not Farm Sim League. You can get your pancakes to Farm Sim League. And we need you to come up with something a little bit more original.
So, Bargon has opened his back doors of his container as well. But Tobias was so far ahead of the others in the first game. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? To see if they can pull it back.
It is. We've got some happy chocolate drops in chat now from Yoss, so we've gone from pancakes to happy chocolate drops. Alright, we're under starters orders. Farmer Hamish is ready to go.
Here we go.
Where we're starting, so we're starting off all in the front or over in the garage? But we're just starting up here where Hamish is. Bring the Le Mans start across the tracks. I'm just going to look at the map and see where the train is.
Very interestingly, I can see it.
It's
coming. It is
it's
on
coming.
its way.
Well, I don't know if Hamish is aware of this.
Close. Right.
I can see it heading down. They've all got to cross.
If Samu gets over, okay, we're good. We're good. That could have been. I don't know. Did Hamish plan that?
I don't know. If he did, he's evil.
He's evil. He's a bad man.
Yeah.
So Tobias already on a tree. Samu not far behind him. Bargon's gone right down the path though. That's interesting.
He's given himself some space, so he might be disadvantaged in terms of distance, but he's given himself space away from the other competitors. Just looking here, Samu, actually we had a little glitch, the old multiplayer glitch with 2 Samus, but he's refreshed that because he hopped out of the equipment. Tobias has his first tree down.
It's a 1v1v1.
You know what, I'm intrigued here. I'm just watching Samu. He's gone and grabbed his grapple first, so I wonder what he's planning there. Trying to claim space perhaps, position his grapple in a way where he wants his truck and he can claim the area.
Very, very possible. Very, very possible.
Yes.
Interesting. I have to say, the speed that Bargon works is impressive. Tobias as well, already onto his second tree. He's obviously scoped out where is the best place to start, because he's got 2 very large trees get cut down already.
Yeah, I think Bargain's tactic was to come down and give himself some space away from everyone else, and he's certainly hand-picking the big trees here out of the lineup, because there is quite an assortment of sizes down this end.
So interestingly, over there, Args, he has got the ability, there's a nice bit of green open space on the right that he can do a full turnaround with his trailer.
That's right.
Whereas if you're down here, you're going to have to do some reversing to get your trailer into space. So,
Absolutely.
Kegarino says this all comes down to tree selection. I think you might be right here. So if you've scoped out this area, because this is the base game area, isn't it? We have not added any trees in here. So this is having a knowledge of the trees and where they're placed.
Yeah, that's right. So just watching the trees Bargon's cut down, he's got 5 logs out of one and only 3 out of the other. So quite a big difference there. But now he's going for one of the really big pines.
Tobias and Samu are doing some beautifully organised log piles here as well. So I think we're going to be in for another very close round here. Tobias is... he nearly rolled his excavator there. He got it caught on one of the small trees and nearly caused a whole heap of problems.
I did catch that just in the background. Saw him teetering there up on one track.
Johnny Helgarts, we will put a scoring list up with penalties attached. Yes, indeed, that will be on the website or in the Discord after the match. And something we'll take forward and probably make sure we include in the next live game as well.
That's right. That's right. Always improving. That's the name of the game for us. We're amateur broadcasters, so we're always trying to find better ways to do things, and your feedback would be very important to help us shape things as the future of the logging leads progresses. But Bargon's really gone a long way up the road here, but he's stacked all his logs next to the track, so he can come in with his forwarder and basically pick them up. What'll be tricky is he's got some of those short little trees right next to it, so it'd be quite easy to clip something as he almost tips over. So
here's a question, Args.
Yes.
Is he going to go a different route? Is he not going to go back out of the bottom? Is he going to take the dirt road round to the right and drop onto the main road higher up there, rather than coming back out to the shop?
That's what would be interesting to see, actually. I'm just looking here on the map. That would be a longer route, I think, and obviously more risk of things happening going across bridges and with the narrow routes up this way, the narrower tracks. But he could very well be. But he must be heading back. I'm just lost track of him. He must be going and getting his forwarder now, so he must be confident he has enough trees here to load.
Yeah, I can hear his truck running here. Oh, he's got his forwarder with him. Yeah, so he's on his way.
All right.
Now I'm gonna come up here. I'm gonna watch Bargon. We didn't watch much of Bargon last time because you had him on your stream. So I'm gonna watch and just see how good he is, because from what I saw last time, it was seriously impressive.
Interestingly, I just noticed there's no collision on these fences down here.
So, and I think Bargon knew that as well, because he drove straight through it without even thinking.
He did.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so Samu's still cutting down trees. Tobias is bringing his grapple in. He's got his truck parked in here, so he is going to be loading into the back of his container very, very quickly. So hopefully he's parked his truck very close to the train tracks. I think it is going to be clear of the train, but something to be mindful of again. First log's going into the back of Tobias's container, so he has picked up a tree, 3 at once. Honestly, these guys, the way they can grab and grapple and manipulate these logs is super impressive.
Speed's insane. It really is. Bargon's having a little bit of an issue here, but again, just impressive how quickly he can load.
So Tobias is probably a third full on his container already. I think this could be another match for him to lose at the current position. It could take a disaster on his front, flipping the train, rolling a truck, tipping something over, for him to be caught at this point.
Wow.
Ooh, train's just sweeping past, so no issues there with the truck.
I'm just... Bargon is working at pace here. And I think the difference is, you know, at the moment it seems like Bargon's behind because he's got nothing in his container, but he can pretty much fill a container in one fell swoop. Only if he's got enough logs though. That's
right. Tobias is probably only 4 or 5 logs away from being completely full. Samu is just grabbing his first log, and he's got his truck and everything positioned. He's got a good stack here. But I'm just keeping an eye on Tobias in the background because I think he is going to be closing the doors on his container very soon and on his way up to the delivery point.
Yeah. The speed Bargon has loaded this is incredible. I cannot tell you how impressive it is watching him. It's like first time every time. He's nailing the position that he's picking up and the position he's dropping into the trailer. It's unbelievable.
I just see Farmer Hamish's comment there in the game chat that Samu was only millimetres away from getting collected by the train as he came in with his truck there, so something to be wary of. And just a comment there from Legion in chat as well about how smooth the loading is. Mate, these guys are impressively smooth.
I am blown away with how fast Bargon's pulled this together. I mean, literally, that's 45 minutes of work for me, and he's done it in about 45 seconds.
Look, I'm just going to interrupt there for a second. Tobias has had to go and cut down another tree. He didn't have enough logs here to fill his container. And that's given Samu a chance to catch up. Still not quite as close. This is the difference, isn't it? Yeah.
So here's an interesting thing. Bargon does not need to bring his truck into this area, does he? He can drive his logs out.
Well, that's the other point. Yes, he can. He could go straight out to his truck and deliver it that way.
So this is the chance. He is very full here. Here he comes. He is full. He's definitely got more logs than he had last time.
He does. I can see that from here. Samu's about half full. Tobias has got 3 logs in the grapple, and he's going to throw those all into the container. That could be enough to fill it up, or it might not be quite. Not quite. So if Bargon can get out and get his container full with all those logs, if he's confident he has enough to fill his container, then I think it's swung in his direction very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Again, Tobias still does not have enough logs.
Backup work, really?
No. And he's got a long way to go to find his next tree.
And his truck is positioned badly as well. It's a challenge to get out of there.
And it's slow.
So Samu's coming back.
Bear in mind how slow it is to drive with that excavator and drag it around, but we're watching the Bargon back up here.
Watch this, people. We could be watching something pretty special going on here. Has he got enough to fill a container in one fell swoop?
Oh, and some. I think that's full, and he's got 4 logs left. I think so. He's out, he's closing the doors on his container, and he's going to be on the road.
That is incredible. That is incredible. What a turnaround.
And Samu, I think, even though Tobias almost had a completely full container before Samu threw a log, and Samu now has almost exactly the same logs, but he's in the same position where he does not have any more logs to load. He's one there next to the truck, but that's not going to be enough to fill his container. So I think Samu and Tobias being in the same area have kind of tripped over each other by not having enough trees in that space.
But I am. Bargon has blown this one out of the water. He is streets ahead. That was unbelievable.
It was interesting.
So if you're going to join in future weeks, the Bargon backup is a very, very viable strat.
It is.
Strat.
Oh, we've had a fight over a tree here. Samu and Tobias have gone for the same log. I think Samu was there first. Who's going to get it cut? They're still fighting over this log here. There's one tree in the middle which is perfectly positioned for both of them. Samu seems to have claimed it, but he's struggling to get his processing unit on it. Oh, Tobias is cut in on top. No, Samu got the log. Oh, that was interesting. This is where the chaos really comes in on this arena. That was chaotic when they were trying to fight over a single tree.
Right, Bargon is here. He's arrived. He's just crossed the train track and missed the train, and he is going to, I think, score a handsome victory here. Absolutely top draw. That was a different class. There are questions here, is Bargon a logger in real life? Because that was outstanding.
It was. I couldn't believe these two trying to fight over a same log here. Samu had it down the bottom. Tobias tried to cut the tree from above his processing unit and take it away from him because it was the closest tree for both of them. But Tobias is now dragging the last of his logs, and that should get him full. I still don't think Samu's full, to be perfectly honest with you.
Jump back down and check it out, because Bargon is sitting pretty, resting on his laurels up there at the sawmill, enjoying, basking in the victory. It's not even a victory, it's a decimation of the competition.
It is. So Samu's still not full. He's had to go cut another tree. Tobias looks like he might have enough there.
Tobias
full. Does have enough.
Yep. Tobias is full.
I'm quite sure
so again, rule here, cut more than you need.
Oh, absolutely.
But what Tobias has done here is kind of blocked himself in with his own equipment.
Unfortunately,
so he's doing a turn on the track now.
Yep, the train went past only a few seconds ago.
So Tobias is away here. He is gone.
He has. Samu looks like he should have enough logs now to fill it up, so he's just going to grab his grapple and head on over. But chaos certainly has reigned supreme here on this little course.
I'm going to have to go and watch your stream after this because I missed all of that following Bargon up the road. But
that's one for the highlight reel, that for sure.
Oh yes. Oh yes. So here we go. We're heading just up the road here. Mr. Tobias guns it past us at full tilt, flashing his lights with his high vis on and the truck. So does he get bonus points for safety?
For safety, that's no. I think if health and safety came into this, we wouldn't be doing it at all. I still don't know if Samu's full.
Yeah.
No, still a few logs short. He logs short of a full container. Oh no, he's given up. He's closed his container door. He's obviously decided he's got enough and he'll take the hit for the penalty and just go and get things finished. Watching him turn around and having to negotiate a few offcuts and slash down here, and he is on his way over the train tracks and heading down your way, FSG.
Very good. I'm watching Tobias just arrive now. He took the top road in again, so again a different tactic there, but brilliantly done by Tobias, dropping those off. So unfortunately, just didn't have enough logs cut before he started loading, because that would have made it, I think, pretty close with Bargon, wouldn't it?
I think it would have. I think the fact that these two, Samu and Tobias, both had to carry on cutting logs and didn't have enough in a position definitely hampered them, because they were loading them really, really quickly. They got to having a 3/4 full container in no time.
But again, you know, what's nice about this is people are observing here, and we'll be taking things away from this, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to go away and practice, and when we come back next month, we could see some interesting tactics going on.
Indeed. I wonder if the teams might even look at it as an option.
I tell you, it's fast. If you can load, the key is the speed of loading. If you can practice loading, yeah, you're basically cutting a serious amount of double handling out. And we thought it was going to be more double handling, didn't we?
We did. But no, it certainly has minimised the amount of work he had to do. Disadvantage when the container was loaded on the front of the trailer, and obviously you saw there when it was loaded on the back, he loaded that in no time. But Samu's just driving in now, bringing his container through the sell point, and hopefully you'll see that disappear. Stop to unstrap just to make sure he avoids any of those issues, and there it goes. There
we go. And that, although third place, that was an impressive run from Samu as well. Just unfortunate again to be a couple of logs down at the end, but wow. Wow, Args.
I know, 1v1v1 seems to be the where the excitement is, and these smaller compact courses where there's 3 different people all working at the same time is making things a whole lot more entertaining.
But for me, I think every round's getting better, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think as we're watching and observing and seeing these different tactics come in, and the different courses also add that level of excitement. We're not just sitting in the same field watching the same thing over and over and over. The courses add some level of excitement and diversity to it as well. So.
It does indeed. It does indeed. Right, we'll just wait for the scores to be updated there. I think it's a bit of a clear winner, but we'll go to the scores anyway.
Yes.
But what we're also going to do now, what we need to do now is reset the server.
We do.
And have the teams load back in, because we've got another 3v3 round, and then we're going to do some 1v1 rounds.
It is. So we're not quite following our run sheet in terms of timing, but we'll get better at that. And it feels like it's flying past, but we've been going for an hour and a half already.
We have indeed.
We'll have a little bit of a chat about what's coming up next, and we've got Estrogen coming back into the realm, so I'm just going to pop up our teams. We're going to see a new team, a new team for today, an old team we've had it in plenty of times, which is the team from Pick a Pallet.
That's right. Again, guys that have been here with us in the preview streams and the practice streams when we were getting things ready. So they have got some good experience, haven't they?
They have, and they've it's been great to have them stick with us and obviously see the potential for the logging league and wanting to be a part of it. So just got the team list up there. We've got a Kiki, Samu, not Samu CH, a different Samu, Tero, and Muix, obviously being their 4th player. So they're going to come up against the team from Estrogen that we saw a little bit earlier, Baumetzi, Calamaris, and Major Malone. So Be interesting to see how Astragon adjust this time around, whether they're a little bit more careful with their log selection and making sure they don't get those penalties, because obviously there's no concerns about their speed and timing. It is just around making sure they pick the right logs up and going into the container to go and get sold.
That's exactly right. Yeah, the teamwork is, there's no question about that. But yeah, I think coming fresh to it and never having played it before definitely was a little disadvantage, which will have gone away this time. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, it will be. Kigarino saying, "Hold my beer." Faster than some teamwork. He's responding to Legion, who said that was faster than some teamworks. Kigarino's taken that on as a challenge, and we're going to see. I think we're going to see. No, he's not part of the solos today. So we've seen all of Kigs today, but look forward to having them back in the next round.
I've got to say a big hi to Dave from G Portal, who's just arrived in the chat as well.
Welcome in, Dave.
Thank you again, Dave, for supporting us and sponsoring the servers today for Logging League. It is very much appreciated.
Absolutely. And just a reminder there from Yoss, if you're just joining us, we do have the Lazy Goat stream up, so you can watch both perspectives at the same time. Mute one, get the same audio, because we're chatting in the same stream.
We are indeed. If you want music, you can listen to mine.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks, Mrs. Argsy.
So are 1v1 results up yet? Let me just check with our chat in the background, and we will just go through.
They do look like
yes,
they are.
We are good to go. And the server's good to go as well. So let's just quickly have a look at the results while we load back into the servers. But there you go. A handsome win for Tobias. And very close.
Bargon won that one.
Actually. Sorry, beg your pardon. Bargon won that one. Under 10 minutes. Again, I think that's a speed record, not
that's
just
ridiculous.
And look at his profit as well compared to the other guys. Just annihilated the competition there. Sorry, guys, but he showed you who was boss on that one.
He was unbeatable. There's absolutely no way anyone was going to beat him on those tactics.
So I'm just logging back into the server.
As am I. And there, and we'll get set up for the pick a pallet versus. But yeah, the times of those three matches certainly ended up a lot further apart than I thought. Watching Tobias, he finished 2.5 minutes before Bargon, but he had a 3/4 full container before Bargon had even started putting logs in his container. So just goes to show again.
It turns around so quickly, doesn't it? Yes,
and we're drumming on about the fact that you need to make sure you've got enough trees on the ground to be picked up and loaded. And for both Samu and Tobias, I'm sure they'll take that as a learning and make sure in the future, particularly on that course where they're a little bit more compromised on what trees they can use, we might see a little bit more of a spread out game next time. Take a little bit of a hit at the start cutting down a little bit later to try and find where the best trees are.
There's something nice about that course. I guess the lack of structure to it makes it interesting in terms of where do you go, what do you do, and
correct.
There's umpteen different ways you can deliver that container to the sawmill, isn't there?
Yeah, there was
which is fun.
It's the chaos course, and it certainly brought some chaos along with it.
Yes, it did, and maybe we find a couple more chaos courses to run in the future, different places on the map.
Well, that's right. We're not limited to just those areas. I mean, we've only really used the bottom part of the course, and obviously just for people who have watched before, for now we've parked the Yada course that is off the menu at the moment. We just found it was a little bit too difficult for the teams to deal with and for it to work, so we've parked that one. But there's certainly a whole lot of options up around the iron ore mine and up in that top left hand corner of the map where we could take the matches. And I guess again the beauty of the Logging League is, while there's a little bit of a structure, it doesn't matter too much. That's right.
And actually, probably a good juncture now, again, Args, I'm going to pull it up here, but to say a big thank you to our sponsors, the wonderful guys at THRUSTMASTER, who have supported the Logging League. Off the back of an idea that Args had randomly in a stream one day, we did a couple of test streams, and caught the eye of the guys at THRUSTMASTER who've been very kind to support the series. And if you haven't played, certainly Silverrun and the Platinum expansion with the T16000 joysticks, they are a game changer for logging. They really, really are.
Absolutely, I love mine. Use them quite a lot, particularly for the logging and mining. Running an excavator, there's something really relaxing about sitting there using a joystick and running an excavator and using it with the freedom that brings with you.
That's right. But actually, on top of that as well, even front loaders, wheel loaders, even just tractors, working with tractors and fields and loading bales and things like that, they come into their own. They really do, don't they?
They do. That's right. That's right. All right. So I'm logged in. Looks like we've got the whole Astragon team in here. I think we're just waiting for the team from Pick a Pallet to get in here, and we'll be loaded in, and we'll pretty much get into this as quickly as we can.
I'm jumping back to in-game because I just want you to see, I mean, when you talk about professionalism, these guys, matching kit, shades on, too cool for school. That is a professional esports team right there, people. Look at that.
Yep, their communication was on point during the game, and their costumes and outfits are also on point.
Now, Alex, you want to talk us through this course while we wait for the other guys to load in?
Absolutely. So, again, we've got the fences, so we've expanded the course just a little bit. The landing here, we've given a little bit more space. We watched Kermit struggle on that with our community stream with Giants, and we thought, let's make it a little bit easier for these guys. We don't want to see those same struggles. But this is the main landing area. Now, the trucks, you can't see the trucks because they are actually up at the container sell point. So the challenge for the truck drivers is to start up there, load the containers onto the back of the truck, and head on down here. Now that gives the processing and loading team the chance to get some trees cut down, brought down here onto the landing, and ready to get loaded in. So again, interesting. We've got exactly the same equipment here. Setups are identical. Both going with the high lift loaders, both using the Komatsu processing units. And they will get up here on the side of the hill. I'm a little bit intrigued how this processing unit goes on the side of the hill, because on the steeper ground, where it's a little bit more unstable, it doesn't quite have the width and size that the Rotney one does. So, be interesting to see. But we are under starters orders.
We are. We've got the two truck drivers up at the sawmill. We'll leave them to arrive. We'll keep an eye on for them arriving. But again, Le Mans style start.
Yes. And we've got the Team Astragon Entertainment there on the right-hand side. We've got the red hay bale, or red silage bale down the bottom, signifying that, and we're off and underway. So, just looking here, no surprises. Baumatsi has gone for the processing unit, and Calamaris is into the loader, so we're looking at the same setup for them as last time. Pick a Pallet, a Kiki here is running the processing unit, and Samu is just making sure he's got hydraulic pressure there in his loader, opening up the jaws and making sure everything's working.
So Akiki first to a tree, though, which is interesting. I'm not sure if there's some discussions going on with Bauer and Calamaris as to where they're going to maybe drop their logs.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I've just popped up to the truck, so I'm going to go and make sure these guys are getting loaded up here. So I'll leave you down there to keep an eye on the cutting and things like that. But looks like whoever's loading for Pick a Pallet, I can't quite see his name, Taru there, he's the first one to a pallet. However, his truck's further away. Major Malin has driven his truck right in next to the container. I'm going to be able to load it straight on. Now, one thing for these guys with the containers, make sure you get the doors around the right side.
Yes, good call, good call. So Bauer's cut his first tree. The logs are a little bit all over the place. So I think maybe Calamaris is going to have to tidy things up a little bit here before the truck arrives, but that's good use of the time, I suppose, isn't it? While I wait for the truck to arrive. Samu's doing the same and got a very nice startings of a stack of logs there, and he's properly moving them out of the way to give Akiki space to work.
Right.
That's good.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know. Taru has his container on. He's got the doors around the right way, so he is just about to head on down the road. In fact, he is rolling out as we speak. He is on his way. Major Malin had a few issues with the container on top of the other containers and getting that lifted off. And he's actually, if he's not careful, he's actually going to put the container on the wrong way around. He's got the doors facing towards the front of the truck. Is he going to detect this before he gets too far? He might. No, he hasn't picked it up. Oh, this is going to cause him all sorts of issues if he leaves it on around this way. This is... oh, okay. Well, fortunately, when he's loaded it on, the auto attachment has flicked the container around a full 180 and he now has the doors to the back. So, crisis averted there for Team Astragon Entertainment.
Well, we appear to be having a little bit of an issue. Bauer is struggling to connect to the tree. I think it may have been too big.
That's actually a very real concern.
So he's moving. He's moved to another tree and he's cut it straight away. So one of these trees is too big for this piece of equipment. That is an interesting one to bear in mind, again, for future games.
It is, it is. Now, Major Melon's on the road. I've lost eyes on the picker pallet driver, so he can't be too far away from arriving. We'll tab on down there and go and find out where I've got to. I'll leave you there with the cutters, how things are going there with Bauer Matzi, and make sure he's got that all sorted out. He's actually left the server. He's left the server. We've lost Bauer Matzi.
Oh dear.
I think, is that a pause? We're going to pause. We pause where everyone is and give him a chance to reconnect.
I think that might be a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll let Hamish freeze things. I wonder if he's having connection issues. That was maybe why he couldn't get that tree.
Not
Either
sure.
that or he's rage quit.
I certainly hope that's not the case. We're just going to wait and see here.
We're going to put a hold on things here.
I think we do need to pause.
Yeah, Akiki's pulling back. He's stopped. Bauer's back in. So we'll let Hamish. Hamish is in voice chat with all of these guys, by the way. So just so you know that they can communicate. So Hamish will be organising things in the background to allow Bauer time to just get organised again, get logged back in and ready to go. Akiki just needs to hold on for a couple of seconds.
All right, there's Bauer. He's
Bauer's back
in his loader.
And he straight back in and straight back into business.
That's right. So I'm just seeing the truck for pick a pallet is coming up the road from the right hand side. So interesting to see how careful he is negotiating through the Astragon guys, because there's not much space in there as he comes on in.
There isn't. So interestingly, the tree that Bauer couldn't get, the trees are the same on both sides here. This is a pre-made course. The trees are the same on both sides. Akiki has grabbed and cut down the tree that Bauer couldn't get before. So I wonder what's happening with that. The head of Bauer's machine. So he's not been able to grab those.
I think it's a height issue. He needs to try and cut the trees from slightly higher up. You can't grab it with that smaller head processing unit at the bottom of the tree. You've got to cut it, and you'll see over here Kiki's probably left a good 6 foot of trunk out of the ground, and you cut it a little bit higher. At least that is from my experience what happens with that Komatsu, and that was where the Rotney I think might have an advantage over the Komatsu processing unit, because it will take a larger tree, a larger diameter trunk.
So interestingly, I think Taru got a little bit confused when he arrived here and thought he was going to the right-hand side. And there's been a little bit of confusion there between the two trucks, but they are in the right positions now. Major Malone is backing up, and Callum Morris is ready to load. But on the other side, Samu has just thrown a rather large set of logs into the container. They're a good bit ahead now, although they have pretty much burnt through all the stuff that they'd cut down.
They are, and this is where the little bit of a disadvantage with Bauer Matzi struggling with those trees is probably going to give Pick a Pallet just that slight advantage over Astragon.
That's right. But Calamaris and Major Malone have made short work of the trees they had there. They've got a full complement of trees cut down and loaded already, so they are behind, whereas the Pick a Pallet guys have already got a stack of stuff already lying here ready to be loaded.
That's right, so Calamaris has just picked up 3 logs. I'm wondering if he's going to just throw those in, or is he going to try and pick up another 3? Oh, he's kind of lost them. For me, I would have just thrown those 3 in and come and pick the others up, because now he's got a stack of logs which aren't quite all aligned. Bauer Matzi coming racing back down. That was almost Bale-esque loading type thing there for Matzi. He came racing in, was almost cutting the tree before he got down.
Now, Pick a Pallet look to have. They have got a full container. They are done. Taru is about to head out of here. The challenge here is he's going to have to navigate whilst the other guys are loading, so he's going to have to pick a route out of here. There is a way out. It's not perfect, but there is a way out.
And Major Melon pulled forward to give Calamaris a little bit more space, and Taru was heading for that gap up the front, and we're seeing a little bit of dancing. Oh, look at this. There's a bit of respect
now, that
there.
is a bit of decency there. That is respect to Major Malone there for just seeing what was going on and getting out of it. Love it. Right, Args, I'm going to leave you with the Astragon crew, and I'm going to follow the guys from...
Sounds good.
I've got to join a farm first, so I can jump to a car. Try that again.
I think where the picker pallet guys really had the advantage is obviously no issues cutting down the trees. And Kiki sort of got those sorted out, and that's a bit of a learning there for Bao and Matsi. Don't try and cut them right down the bottom. But they also cut down more trees than they needed, so I'm just looking here. Samu's got a whole lot of trees playing with while they're waiting, and they've got more than they needed to get their container full. There's some good teamwork going on as well from the Astragon guys. Calamaris picks the logs up, Major Melon backs in, and Bao is coming racing down right in front of me with some more logs to get loaded up at the same time. So
I'm looking for the truck. It hasn't arrived here yet. You can just see them coming along the road now. The picker pallet guys are making their way up over the bridge. Good, more than halfway towards the sawmill now. This is going to be, I think, quite a comprehensive victory again.
yeah,
Empty road as well. Even the traffic decided not to hang around this time.
it's always nice when that happens. I'm just watching here, Astragon. I think they've made it a little bit hard for themselves. They've dropped the logs just on the bottom of the slope, so when Calamaris is coming in to try and pick them up with that grab, it's on the side of in a bit of an angle, and it's just not working for them.
Dust Bunny's just highlighted in my chat that Major Malone deserves a good sportsmanship award for moving so Taru could get out. I think that's worth highlighting. That is a really nice thing to say, I think.
It is, absolutely. Whether it was deliberate or not, I mean, Taru may have just saw the gap and went for it, but...
True. Right, this is Taru arriving at the container drop-off, and he has delivered.
Oh, there we go.
So that felt fast.
It did feel fast, I agree. The truck wasn't here for very long, and then it was off, but I think...
Yeah.
I'm just feeling for Calamaris at the moment. He's really struggling to get any logs picked up because of the slope and where they've been positioned, and now that it's just like pickup sticks up here at the moment. They're all over the place. The thing is, Bao is still cutting logs. He probably only actually needs to pick up 3 or 4 of these and they'll have a full load, but it's not working out for him.
So this is really interesting, isn't it? That high grab is a brilliant piece of kit if you're on flat ground. The moment you take that up into the trees, it becomes a real challenge. It just doesn't have the movement or the agility that some of the excavators do.
Yeah, the fixed position of the header of the grapple doesn't help with that, but we are just looking here. It's actually interesting. I'm just looking, is Bao Matsi going to try this? He's kind of got his processor unit.
Almost brilliant.
I think if Calamaris wasn't in the way, that would have worked. And that's something we haven't seen yet. It's something I think I tried out when we first did it, and I couldn't quite get everything positioned properly, but I wonder with the change in the physics from the more recent update, whether it might just be a little bit more accessible. There we go. Calamaris surely with that grab is going to be enough to fill that container up and get it on down to the sell point.
Don't you?
There we go. I think he was only 1 log short. That looks pretty full to me. See, Major Melon looks like he's about to roll out.
Major Melon's looking for another one, so we're
closed.
we're good to go. We are good to go.
Had the call. Container's full, and they are
the guys are away. Well, they may be in second place, but that was not in any way a bad run, to be honest. In other circumstances, they could have well been up front. Like you said, just not getting them off the hill completely may have caused them a little bit of an issue.
That's right. That's right. The disconnect in the middle probably ruined their rhythm just a little bit as well. And we'll have to just make sure we're very clear with the teams around the rules for that. If you do see someone disconnect, an immediate pause, don't carry on doing any work. But We can just see the truck there in the distance heading on and down and out. It's going past the train station and turning up the road and heading towards the sell point. In fact, he's got a little bit lost by the looks of things just down there in the distance.
So it's interesting actually as well. I do think in terms of respect there, the pick a pallet guys did stop. I certainly know Akiki didn't cut any more logs down while Bauer was out. So definitely, I think it was respected. But I think we should make sure that the guys know that they can pause and pick things up.
Correct. We're just watching Major Melon come across the road bridge, heading on down towards the sell point. Are you down there, ready to pick him up on the unload FSG? Oh, you're right next to me.
I am indeed. Well, I'm right next to you, but I will bounce up to the next one now. We'll get there in time.
Welcome in, Big Rig Frosty. How are you, mate? See you.
We should see them coming around the corner right now.
Just there. Don't know where the train is, but we'll wait and see.
So here they are. Which route are they going to take in? Are they going to learn from that challenge in the first one, getting stuck on some of the crossings? They have. Major Milan has come to the second crossing. That was taken very nicely, that corner, actually.
He's not slowing down, that's for sure. And that truck, the train's just arriving. The level crossing's just going down. So again,
look at that.
Only moments away from having an issue with the train, but there it is. Well, there we are. That is match number 4. I think a very clear and deserved winner there from the Pick a Pallet guys. They've obviously had a ton of time practicing this and been more familiar with the courses and everything like that. But great to have Astragon here, and they certainly did not embarrass themselves by any stretch of the imagination. Their teamwork and coordination and that comeback they had in that first match was second to none. Just let down by the size of the logs they'd loaded.
That's right. And do you know what? They are the consummate professionals. They will be back. They won't want to leave this like this. They will be back for more.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to having them back next time around. We'll just let Farmer Hamish get those scores updated in the background, and we'll go and take a look at the overall time and what each team made, and then we'll be jumping into another 1v1v1, and I must say I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a bit of a challenge.
Yes, indeed. It really is. And actually those 1v1 courses worked really, really well, didn't they? So hats off to Farmer Hamish, who's done some Herculean amount of work in the background over the last week or so. So we're just waiting for scores to be updated. We will apply points after this time, but I think next time, obviously, we'll have some points on the board. So we'll run a league table as well and let people see how people are progressing.
Scooter,
we are good to go on scores. Good
to go on scores. Just going to say, Scooter, I saw your message there around the chainsaw noise and not being able to hear us while we're talking over transitions. So we'll fix that for next time. We've already adjusted the volume once.
In fact, I can fix it right now, can't I?
No, I can't actually find where the audio comes through for that transition. So I couldn't find a way to adjust.
Scroll down. If you scroll down in your scene transitions, switch it to monitor only.
So there's no audio.
Mute output.
That's a good way to do it.
Transition's gone.
Right, let's jump to that team scoreboard.
And there we go. Pick a pallet under 10 minutes again. That is impressive. It did feel like a fast one, didn't it?
It did, under 10 minutes. And the profit there, pretty much the same. Astragon actually came away with slightly more, but they were there 13 minutes, 9 seconds.
Impressive stuff, though. Like, from both teams, it really is.
Absolutely.
Super impressive.
Yeah. Yep. The 13 minutes is certainly nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, I think in some of our playtests it was taking even longer than 13 minutes for teams, so that's still a pretty fast time.
Right, we are going to arrange our single-player teams. I think we're going to run the same as last time. We're going to go with the set course first, and then we're going to go for the free-for-all after that.
That's right.
Again. So we'll wait for the teams just to arrive now, and we will drop back into the entertainment.
Excellent. Everything's all back reset and set up down here. And we do have a slightly different equipment lineup, so we'll take a look at that once everyone's logged in and just comment on who's using what and see how the differences are going to play out for this one.
We've been told we shouldn't talk while the transition is on, Args.
Yes, I have seen that.
Because it mutes us. So that's fine. Again, learning for next time.
Exactly.
You should have heard it. You should have heard it this morning. It was about 3 times as loud as that. So.
Yeah, you actually thought there was a chainsaw out your window.
Indeed. So, do you think anybody's brave enough to give the Bargon backup a whirl?
Well, we're not going to see it in this one.
Never done it before.
No, we're not going to see it any time today because these courses are all pre-made. Possibly in the Chaos course because they choose their equipment just before. But the 3 players here, and I'll just have a look at my list. We've got Gaming with James, Sharp Farmer, and Genetic joining us here for this one. And it looks like we've got starters orders and everyone is all ready to go. So that was a very fast login.
That was fast. That was fast. Right.
Appreciate all the teams being prepared and ready to go.
Gameplay. And we'll go.
Alright, there we go. Tanner's just said much better on the cutscenes without the chainsaw, so keep that in the memory banks for next time. But also a comment there from Tanner.
Did you delete it, Args?
I've muted it, yes. There's no chainsaw. Should be no chainsaw. A week of practice for Astragon and they would be very good, just seeing the teamwork they already have from Farm Sim League. Exactly, Tanner. I 100% agree with that. But we are here. We moved on to the 1v1v1 Sharp Farmer game with James and Genetic, all standing there on the lineup on the starting line. They are all in their logging gear, ready to go. So we're just on starters orders, and we'll be underway. Again,
it's last time they've selected their own equipment, haven't they, Args? So they are going with the stuff that they want.
That's right. They have. And Mrs. Argsy's home, so I can press play again on my playlist, and we'll carry on moving.
We are off. Go, go, go.
We are. Awesome. All right, there we go.
Now, interestingly, with the way this is spread out, Sharp Farmer was in his machine incredibly quickly because it's right in front of us.
Yeah, I think maybe for future we get them to start opposite their boxes instead of all at the side by side, so they have an equal run in. We're not going to say that was the advantage that Tobias had in that first match because he was just light years ahead of everyone else. But
he was.
We're underway.
But actually, Gaming with James has made the first cut. Here's our first cut, closely followed by Genetic and Sharp right behind him.
They were very close. I'm just taking a quick look here at what equipment Genetic's using. He's got the older Komatsu with the tracks on it, so probably quite a stable piece of equipment, but a lot smaller. So.
Yeah, interesting. Gaming with James has selected a much bigger tree as well in Sharp Farmer in the middle here, so it's going to be interesting to see.
That's right.
If that pays dividends later on.
And Kigarino's just commented and said, let's go teammates. And of course we do have 2 of the teammates up against each other with Gaming with James and Sharp Farmer. They are part of the Pinnacle Loggers team we saw earlier.
That's
but
true.
Here they are frenemies.
Well, Sharp Farmer nearly lost it there. He nearly rolled his excavator as well, so not sure quite what happened there, but he's managed to salvage it. Now, he did not cut his first tree either. I think it may have got stuck in another tree and become disconnected from the attachment.
Interesting.
So he's moved on from that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm just watching Genetic. He was struggling to get the tree cut. I think he has the same issue Matsy had in the last match, where the processing unit on this... well, the header on this processing unit won't work on the larger tree diameter. But he's moved on to another
one. And again, something to bear in mind for future rounds for people when selecting machinery.
That's right, but he has got his second tree cut down and he's spinning that round and cut to length.
Gaming with James is making steady progress here. He's quietly working his way through things. Sharp Farmer is cutting down his 3rd tree now as well, but only 2 are viable at the moment. His first tree was a problem which he's had to leave.
Interesting. And Kigarino's just confirmed the track can't cut more than 64 centimetres, so something to bear in mind when you're making your selections. Probably something the players hadn't thought about, was the size of the trees they had to tackle.
So here's an interesting thing as well. Gaming with James dropped his log There's an uncut tree there and has had to pick it back up. He's managed it though, and looks like it's not causing too many issues.
That does take a lot of skill to do that, to pick them back up off the ground.
Yes, it does. So he's working away. Sharp's having some trouble, I think, in these corners. I think with the trees getting caught on the fences or getting attached to other trees. So he's maybe not as far ahead as Gaming with James. I'm going to come over and have a look at Genetic because I've not watched him for long yet. But there are some nice piles of logs here, actually.
I was just going to say the same.
Very organised.
I was going to say the same thing with Gaming with James, but then he managed to drive and knock half his logs out of one pile there. So.
Oh no.
He won't have the same issue with this Rotney harvester. I think this can cut down the larger diameter trees, so he shouldn't have any issues with his tree selection, but he's being very particular about which ones he's going to.
Interesting tactic from Genetic there as well. His final piece of the tree, he made sure he spun it out of the way so there was no chance of it getting stuck with the rest of his logs and potentially getting loaded into the container by accident.
That's a good tactic, and we are seeing teams being more mindful of that when they are cutting their trees and leaving that top little piece to avoid the penalties. Kigarino's just made an interesting comment. Is it worth sorting out your logs? I don't think it would be. I think by the time you've sorted out the logs and have to cut an extra tree down to make sure you get the right quantity, I'd just be ditching the tops, but who knows, might be something to play test in your spare time, Kegs, and maybe come to us with a new tactic next time.
So Genetic tried to ditch another end piece there as well, but it's landed quite close. I don't think it's going to be a problem though. He's well aware of what he's trying to do there, so he shouldn't make any issues. But I would say, looking at his log piles, he looks the most organised.
Yeah, I was just looking, Sharp Farmer's got a bit of a pick-up sticks game going on in his little arena.
He does indeed.
Gaming with James was doing a pretty good job, but I'll just pop down here to have a look at Genetic, and he definitely does have some neatly organised piles going on down here as well. It's close, it's close.
It is close. I'm going to say it doesn't feel as quick as we saw in the first round.
No, and I was thinking exactly the same thing. It'll be interesting to see when the teams get a little bit, or the players play some of the others, as to how things play out.
Indeed, indeed. Nice to see some comparisons as well between times at the end. That'd be a good check to make as well.
Yeah, and a bit of practice. I think some of these players might find that they can find ways to speed things up or do things a little bit better. Maybe change their equipment selections and become familiar with something else over the course of the next month while we're waiting. But I'm just watching Sharp Farmer. He has moved his truck. He's opened his container up, and he is jumping into his Volvo loader. He's got the smaller loader with just the base log grapple on it, and he is going to go and pick up his first logs to get put in the truck.
Gaming with James as well has moved from cutting trees to his truck and starting to load up. He's going to pick his way through the trees and the logs and find a space that he's going to be able to load things relatively easily with space. Now, this is a challenge with this. There isn't a lot, although it looks quite empty. By the time you've cut your logs down and the other trees that are still standing are in the way, you've got to find a route that, one, gets you to load your trees quickly, but also gets you out of the arena when you're full.
Yeah, that's right. Some planning to position your truck in the right angle, facing the right way to avoid excess manoeuvring could be the difference. We saw some times there. Once a penalty was applied, it was pretty close there in that first match, and even in the second match, the race between second and third from this arena was all pretty close.
It was.
This is the first time we've seen the fixed front loader grapple being used by both Sharp Farmer and Gaming with James, which is interesting. It does make it a little bit harder. You don't have the flexibility to turn your grapple or anything like that in the front. In fact, Sharp Farmer's just pushed his logs in underneath his Volvo excavator, and he's finding it a little bit difficult to grab. But you don't have that
with James, I remember being very accomplished with this last time, and as he's just picked his first pile of logs up there, that showed me nothing to suggest that that's changed.
Right, Sharp Farmer has indeed moved his excavator out of the way, and he's now trying to pick up 4 logs at once. He's managed to grab those. So, oh no, he's dropped one out the front. So now it's a case of manoeuvring and basically positioning your wheel loader in a way behind that you can use the centre pivot, effectively, the articulation of the loader, to get those twisted in. And he did it with 1 log, but the next 2 he managed to drive over the back of the truck instead.
Well, Gaming with James, I think, has maybe just taken quite quite a lead here.
Interesting you say that,
impressive
yeah.
loading going on here.
Yeah, I'm just looking across the back of Sharp Farmer's container and looking at Game with James, and he definitely does have a bit of an advantage in the number of logs he has in the back of the container. But we can't forget Genetic down here. He has jumped into his grapple, and he has already got the first layer of logs into his container, so there's every chance with
He's not far behind.
No, and with the state of his stacking and his piles down here, he has every chance of catching up, and he's actually pretty adept here at using this excavator.
Actually, I would say there's very little in the, between Gaming with James and Sharp. They're, I would say they're pretty close in loads. Although Gaming with James is about to load a very large collection, and again, his loading skills with that are impressive. He has gone from half to almost full in one load there.
Wow, that's a
Has he
good
got
grab.
enough to fill it?
Quite impressed just watching Genetic. He picked up a piece of undersized wood and just flung it out of the way with scant regard for where it went, but it was pretty impressive manoeuvring and very smooth. And now he's just got 2 logs here in the grapple, which he's trying to get twisted around the right way and throw into the back of the container. It's moved just a touch.
Gaming with James is doing some good stuff here. He really is.
Let's come down and have a look.
Let me just check on Sharp again. And I think this boils down, when you look at Sharp's, the way his logs are strewn all over his land compared to James's relatively neat piles, you start to see the speed difference, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's certainly the advantage of having nice piles and being able to get in there and pick up 3, 4, 5 logs at once with those grapples is a huge advantage. And Gaming with James is just manoeuvring, and now he's got 3 logs. This could be enough to fill up the container. Not quite. I think he might have to go and grab a couple more. He's just checking. No. He does have 2 more logs here ready to go though, and that hopefully for him will be enough to top it off. In fact, he's going to go and choose to cut down another tree rather than grabbing those 2 logs. I wonder what's wrong with those.
Interesting.
They're certainly of the right size. They're long enough. This is an interesting choice here in Gaming with James to go and cut down this extra tree.
Is he confident that he's that far ahead that he can do that?
I'm not sure. Maybe he's just overlooked the fact that he had those 2 logs sitting over there behind his wheel loader. Maybe he thought he could be quicker cutting 4 or 5 logs into a nice stack than having to fiddle around with picking those up, which aren't quite that neatly stacked.
Yeah, possibly. Genetic is working away. He's got a rhythm here. I would say him and Sharp are pretty close together still. But I do believe this is going to be a race for second when you see how much Gaming with James has got in place.
He's just hopped into his wheel loader while we're speaking of him, and he's coming to grab this stack of logs. There's 5 here. He probably honestly only needs about 2 of them, so we'll just see how he goes grabbing them. But take more and make sure you do fill it up 100%, so you only do it in one shot and load. Oh, and in fact, he's only managed to pick up 1 log, so he's going to have another go at this.
Does he need more than 1, do you think? Yeah, pretty big. That's a pretty
probably
big tree.
not.
But interestingly, Sharp Farmer's going. Sharp Farmer is not full, but he's playing a tactic where he's thinking if he can get far enough up the road.
That is interesting. Gaming with James.
Or is he?
Gaming with James is full. He's closing the door on his containers, so it is interesting tactics. So Gaming with James is definitely 100% full in his container. He's now making his way out. He's clipped one of the little trees. There is, like we said earlier, there's some merit to parking in a place where you're not going to get caught on trees or have any issues. But there we go. Oh,
these
stuck
fences
again.
are tight as well. Sharp Farmer's got stuck as well on his way out, which kind of, I think if you're going to do this tactic of not loading your container but getting out, you need to be super accurate with your driving.
Yeah, which Gaming with James was. He just flew through that chicane like it was... and then he goes...
Oh, he's got caught. Oh,
goes and embarrasses me as I'm trying to pump him up with his driving skills. He catches the fence there.
But Gaming with James does have a full container.
100%.
And Sharp does not, and I think there isn't enough distance between them for Sharp to overturn that one. I think that is James's in the bag, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Genetic's not too far behind. He's got enough trees, I'd suspect, here to get it fully loaded, so it's just a case of getting them picked up and put into the back of the container. He's working away methodically, one or two at a time. It's getting them in there, and he won't be too far away. And depending how short Sharp Farmer is on a full load, Genetic's not out of this.
No, he's certainly got second place potentially in the bag if he can get those last few logs loaded up.
Absolutely. In fact, I think, yeah, definitely the 2 or 3 logs he has sitting on the ground here is going to be enough for him to be 100% full in his container.
Rob, thank you for the comment, mate. We appreciate that. It's something we'll fix for next time, definitely. So we have got, as I get into our camera vehicle here as the guys arrive, Sharp Farmer is still ahead, of course, but we know he hasn't got a full container.
Interesting. Genetics. Oh no, he's changed his mind. He was picking up an undersized log there to top his container off, but does have 2 good logs there that he can load, and he's just grabbed that one. Is it going to be enough to fill it up? I hope it is. Oh, not quite, I don't think. I think he's just short.
Gaming with James is further back now. I'm not sure if they're using the same truck, but he's dropped a bit of ground, but certainly not enough to cause any changes, I don't think.
Alright, there we go. Genetic must be 100% full. The container certainly looks like it's chocker. He's jumped out of his excavator. Doors are closed, and he's sprinting his way down to the driver's side of the truck. And he is in. Didn't waste any time on the accelerator there, and he is moving.
So this is going to be interesting, because Sharp, we know Sharp doesn't have a full load, but has Genetic left enough time to get up here to make that difference?
That is the question. He does have arguably the easier route out of the fences, but he does manage to get caught up there, I think, with the front of the truck. Trailer looks okay. Indeed it is. So he just has to swing out here on the left, and then he is on the road. And there we go.
Oh, and Gaming with James has almost closed up on Sharp. Sharp got caught at the end, and they are seconds apart. Seconds apart at the end.
Genetics just crossing the train tracks here on the way out of the arena, and he will be on the road in just a few seconds. There we go, he's crossing the bridge. We'll go and catch up with him in just a second down in town, but intriguing to see what you're watching up there, FSG.
Well, the guys are finished. We are done here. It was, I would say, a second apart at the end there. Gaming with James absolutely stonked over the level crossing and nearly collided with Sharp, and they were finished virtually at the same time. Now, of course, as I've already said, Sharp did not have a full container.
No.
So he's definitely not won this.
We need to watch the clock.
But has he held on to second place?
Yeah, that's right. We'll have to watch the clock closely to see how Genetic does in getting down there and getting to the finish line as quickly as he can. He's just about at the roller coaster. He's heading down the road. I can see him from the vantage point I have at the moment. He's coming around the corner. He'll be onto the main road in just a second. Here he comes. Of course, 2 minutes behind. If that's what he ends up, he only needs to have $2,000 more than Sharp Farmer, and that will give him second place. He's cutting the corner through the store as everyone has, and he's on his way down the main drag towards the sell point.
There we go. So maybe again, it's that fine line between rushing to get things done or taking your time and potentially finishing second, but taking advantage of the extra earnings in the container.
Absolutely. We'll just wait down here at the sell point, at the delivery point, to see which crossing he enters through, and we'll have to wait until we see this final scorecard to find out how far behind he was and how the penalties might play out for Sharp Farmer.
That's right. So we are just waiting for him to arrive here. Here he comes.
I can see him coming around the corner there too.
Now, is he going to take this first? No. Is he going to take the second? No. He's going to throw it in at the top. Or is he going to take third? He is going to take the third.
Through the middle.
Genetic.
Clears it with no issue, and he will head into the sell point. Get that container off. There it goes. So, there we are. That is our 1v1 Sharp Farmer, Gaming with James, and Genetic. So, we're just going to wait. Oh, in fact, Sharp Farmer's already calling it to say that Genetic earned more. Of course, they can see, because they're all on the same farm, they can see their income. So we'll just have to wait and see once we get Farmer Hamish's final adjudication exactly where we've ended up on that one.
Yes, indeed. But again, interesting, right? Interesting stuff, Args.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's been fascinating following how each of the players have tackled things and whether different tactics might come into play in the future.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But really, really impressive. Different tactics, different machinery, different ways of approaching it. But it's quite apparent these folks have been practicing, right?
They have been. They have been. So it'll be. What I'm looking forward to is the progression of them across the season. Of course, we've talked about tactics and how things like the bargain backup could come into play. What else we might see from tactics. The one I haven't seen yet, and I'm really looking forward to someone trying, is using the cutting tool, the processing unit, straight into the back of the trailer. That is one that I think has a lot of merit, and if someone could practice that, that could really be a game changer for them.
It could be huge. It could be huge. Right, so while we wait for the scores to be updated, the teams are going to reset themselves, and it is the final round of the night.
It is
the Carnage round again.
The morning,
and I'm really looking forward to this one. Or the morning, if you're in New Zealand or Australia. Apologies. Trying to be inclusive here. So we will just wait a second for things to be approved. We'll just jump into the Discord and check that.
See where the scores are at. Thanks, Kigarino. Nice to have you here, mate. Enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, where you are, and look forward to seeing improvements coming through from Pinnacle Farming and what you guys might bring for the next season, next round.
Yes, indeed. Right, the results are up, Args. Let's jump to those.
Solo scoreboard. Have a look.
And there we go. Look at the times. Look at the times. Gaming with James and Sharp Farmer. Absolutely. I mean, we're 0.2 of a second difference between those two. Unbelievable.
But the profit difference, I didn't see how low Sharp Farmer's trailer was or container was, but he's only taken 2/3 of what everyone else has.
Yeah.
Or even less.
Yeah. So Genetic has pulled into second place.
He did.
Quite a margin.
He will have, yeah. He was just on 2.5 seconds behind. See Hamish there is typing in as we speak, first, second, and third. Yeah. He's got that wrong the wrong way though. He's corrected that. Live productions, I love it.
Love it. But that was a fantastic round. I really enjoyed that, and great to see such a close finish as well there from Gaming with James and Sharp Farmer. So
absolutely,
hats off, guys.
Absolutely,
great entertainment.
Indeed.
Great entertainment. So we are resetting for the final round.
Yes, let them buy their equipment and get everything all lined up, ready to go. Obviously, again, it'll be fascinating to see whether these three have learned from the last chaos round we had with the previous 3 players around what equipment they choose, but also where they tackle the logging from. I'd certainly, the bargain backup, regardless of whether you use the backup or not, the bargain tactic of going further up the road certainly paid off dividends for him, because he had free range to a lot of trees and didn't have to worry about everything.
Indeed, he just had space to play with, didn't he? Which was really interesting. Yeah. So, yes, indeed.
Kigarino had forgotten there was another round to go, the Chaos round, so he's staying to catch that.
Oh, he's back. Excellent. Now, we did plan our run order, which I have in front of me here, is completely out the window, because we did plan to have this kind of nailed in about 2 hours, and I'm sure we will get it tighter. But thank you all for hanging around and staying with us, because I certainly have had. It's been fantastic tonight. I've really enjoyed it. So I hope you guys are as well.
Yep, absolutely. We're just waiting to see what each player is going to choose for their equipment. So if there's any changes here, in fact, I can already see one change. We've got the high lift loader has been purchased by someone.
Yes, indeed. But interestingly, where's our third cutter? So we've got a Rodney, the original Komatsu. So are we going to see a change?
jump into the screen so you guys can see what we're looking at. Ah, we have.
We have got a change, yes. A second Rotney. Interesting.
It is.
Interesting.
I can see Genetics sitting in his processing unit. I'd be racing as fast as I could and aiming that center start point.
That's right. They're going to have to get organised now, get their containers loaded onto their low loaders.
That's right.
So yes, it's going to be interesting. Different kit from the first time for Sharp Armour, I think it must be. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles that. Obviously round one didn't go exactly to plan for him, so he's going to go down a different tactic here.
So Peter Sullivan's just made a comment in chat. If you don't have the separation between the cutter head and the container perfect, the container will take the entire tree and give you a big penalty. So that might be why perhaps teams have tested that as a solution, as an option, and have realised the penalty for doing it. So thank you very much for that feedback, Peter.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Peter. As we can see, the guys are starting to get organised here, getting their equipment into place. Hamish is doing his dutiful event organising role and making sure that the containers are loaded onto the low loaders before things get ready. But we'll be a couple of minutes just getting organised here.
Yeah.
And then it will be good to go. And I, for one, after the first round of this, am really looking forward to the second.
It should be good. Yeah. Farmer Hamish around the right way, or is he hoping that container's going to flick like it did last time? Have a look. Here we go. So that's interesting. It does rotate. Learn something new.
I wonder if that's a fix.
Possibly.
In the last update. Everybody getting lined up here.
Yeah. Just while we're waiting for everyone to get sorted out. Of course, FSG, another big thank you to THRUSTMASTER for being on board to sponsor the Logging League, brought to you by THRUSTMASTER. And of course, I don't know if Dave's still hanging around, but the team at G-Portal as well for providing the servers. And I think we are going to have some server, some credits to give away in future rounds. So we obviously wanted to get everything up and running properly today without any issues, and we'll introduce maybe some little competitions in between for the next round where there might be opportunities there for some G-Portal credits to go onto your multiplayer servers. So huge thank you to both of those, THRUSTMASTER and G-Portal.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, no, they've been brilliant support and incredibly enthusiastic about this. And when they heard about it, so yeah, we can't thank them enough for putting a bit of faith in this. And I think, you know, for the first official one, we've kind of ironed out a lot of the teething problems from the first couple of practice runs, and I think tonight's run brilliantly well. I have to say, it's been.
I agree.
It's been fantastic.
Yeah, no, it has. It's gone well. So, testament to the effort that's gone into the background to get teams and things set up, and yeah, we'll keep improving. There'll be more to come. Don't you worry about that.
Yes, we've got some other things coming along for the next few. I was going to say episodes. It's not a series.
Rounds. Next few rounds. That's right. There'll be a highlight package put out in a couple of weeks too, in between rounds. We'll summarise and go back over some of the highlights, the bargain backup, the two teams or two players fighting over the same tree, and some of those other issues that we've had. And
that's right.
Keep an eye out for those. Looks like someone's gone for the pretty pink container and trailer. No arguing where that is. It is, isn't it?
Right, that is our last piece of kit that we need to get organised with. I think somebody's becoming really extravagant and gone for a just a second high lift, just in case their first one breaks down.
we do have a little bit of extra equipment.
But just wait for Sharp to get organised here, and we will be good to go.
Indeed. Of course, anyone who's interested, it's not too late to sign up to the Logging League. If you've just joined us, jump into the Discord, get registered, whether you want to play as a solo, whether you've enjoyed watching these chaotic rounds with the solo players, or whether you have a team of 3, do jump in there. If you want to find a team of 3, we've also got ways that we can try and connect you with other people who are looking. The team of Pinnacle Farmers is Kikarino, Game with James, and Sharp Farmer. They've actually been made up from 3 people who were looking for a team, so there is options there. So yeah, and you won't be penalised with points. We do have a setup where the worst round is dropped out of the 5 rounds, so while you wouldn't have the benefit of dropping a round later on if you weren't available, you would at least have the benefit of not losing points because you weren't here for this one. We've also got one other team, Modern Logging, which contains Modern Logging, Farming, Alex, K-Blocks, and Samu CH, who weren't available tonight, so we've got 4 teams registered at them. And 12 solos, so we've had 6 of them tonight, we'll have the other 6 hopefully next time around.
Yep.
Go from there, but we're under starters orders, FSG.
We are under starters orders. Gaming with James did a very decent thing and went around the back and opened, I thought it was going to open all 3 of the containers, but he certainly opened 2 of them, which was very good of him. Right, we are good to go here. This is going to be interesting. Suspense is killing me.
Oh, it is. It is. Just unleash them, Hamish. Unleash them. Our farmer's doing some stretches and jumping around.
So, what's going to be interesting is here, were these guys paying attention in the last round?
That's
of this?
true.
And
That's
will
true.
they have picked anything up? Thank you, Yoss. It wasn't on the game screen.
In fact, Kigarino's saying that they're looking for a fill-in for the April round, so if anyone's looking to join a team and maybe just experience it as a 4th player and just filling in on occasions, there's that opportunity there too. So, but we're underway. Let's worry about that a little bit later.
We are go, yeah. Fast start from Sharp Farmer and Gaming with James. Genetic, a little bit slow to get to his machine there. And they are going for the same piece of land at the moment. Sharp Farmer and Gaming with James are racing down towards Bargon's area. Sharp Farmer's decided to bail out of that one, which is interesting.
They were just about bumping tracks there.
They really were, weren't they?
They were. Which has left Genetic free reign down here at the entrance, and arguably a bit of an advantage over the other teams because he's closer to the in and outs, closer to his equipment.
If you've got the space, like you said, Args, it's not bad. Now, Gaming with James is hauling his logs quite far back here, so Sharp Farmer and Gaming with James are close together up here. It might make things interesting when they bring their trucks in a little while.
I think Genetic's going to run into this issue with the processing size on this side on this header and not be able to cut this tree down. Watching to see whether he can get the header wrapped around it and cut. He's dropping
first tree's down from both Sharp and James here.
Right, Genetic did manage to grab that tree. He's going to drop it on Sharp Farmer. Oh, that was close.
That was close. Interesting, Gaming with James has discarded the top of his tree on the other side from his logs as well, which is interesting.
Right. Sharp Farmer's looking at here.
Yeah, I thought it's interesting.
He's trying to...
that's
cheeky. That is cheeky.
We might have to have a referee's view on that one. Throwing a misshapen log.
It is a chaos course. It is a chaos course. Gaming with James has seen that happen, and he's in there. He's moving it back out. Of course, as we said, FSG, these 2 are teammates in the 3v3 matches. They are part of Pinnacle Loggers. So, Kigarino, keep a tighter rein on your team here, mate. Because
they may not be teammates any longer.
You might be looking for an extra player for the next round at this rate.
Yes, indeed.
Meanwhile, Genetic's just going about his business and getting quite a good-sized stack of logs, all in the same spot down here. So he's just keeping to himself.
Yeah. So Sharp has only got the 1 tree down at the moment. There's a little bit of mischief there. Has slowed him down, actually, because Gaming with James has got 2. Farmer Hamish says not many rules with the Chaos Course.
No.
Sabotage being one of them.
Yeah, that's right.
Or a lack of sabotage. Gaming with James has unfortunately got himself caught on his first tree stump, though. He's managed to maneuver it over, but that was pretty close to being a bit of a challenge.
Is that right?
He's done a good job of getting out. He's done a good job of getting out of there.
I have to check that out a little bit later.
Now, here's an interesting one. Sharp Farmer's tree has just fallen on top of Gaming with James's. Is there any possibility of them getting stuck? I think they've got away with it, but these two are not giving any quarter here. They're definitely playing it close to the bone in terms of the rules.
Well, like Hamish said, there's very few rules, and that's what makes this one quite an exciting course to watch, because it is a bit of a free-for-all. And when you've got 3 people in here all going for the same logs, same area, it makes it a bit more interesting. It looks like Sharp Farmer might be transitioning over to his loader.
Oh, he's going early again. Is he going early again? Is this his
Genetic's done the same as well. He has grabbed his truck and he is moving in to start loading things. We did actually, I just heard the train has just gone past too. That must have been pretty close for those 2 players.
So Gaming with James is still cutting. Again, Sharp Farmer's abandoned his truck right in the middle of James's logs, which I kind of think is a little bit unfair. We'll see how that how that goes for him.
We will. I've just come over to have a look at that. That's we're pushing the boundaries here, I think.
A little bit cheeky. It's a little bit cheeky. Well, I think we're going to wait and see what the referee says here. But it looks like he may have had a word with Sharp, because he's moving it away. He didn't knock any of the logs out of the way, which is one benefit, I suppose. But he's not giving James much opportunity to get his truck in here and get his logs out, is he?
No, I was just going to make exactly the same comment. It's not much space in that to manoeuvre in and past around.
And blocking is not allowed. So let's see how this goes.
Gaming with James is heading down.
They are all on the same farm. I was going to say, they are all on the same farm, Arg, so they can move each other's equipment if they need to, but here comes the boss, and I believe he's probably had a word with Sharp Farmer, because he has moved his truck to allow James was about to run Sharp Farmer over.
He was. Good thing this is a PG rated game and there's no ability to actually take people out like that.
Indeed.
Or G rated, I'm not even saying PG.
Indeed, and whilst these two are scrapping, for want of a better word, up in the top corner, Genetic is ahead at the moment. He has got some logs into his container, the first bit to have logs into his container, and he is go. Although Sharp's just got his first load in as well.
So it's clever actually by Genetic, because that Volvo excavator he has is slower than the wheel loaders, so it would take him longer to get into load. If he was heading up with Gaming with James as, he would be at a distinct disadvantage. But I think, like you say, he's down here doing his own thing, using his own space with his own equipment, and these guys really don't have much space around each other.
And again, remember, if Genetics is clever with the logs he loads as well, even if he is that little bit slower, he may bring himself back into the game at the end.
Yeah, that's a very distinct possibility. I'm just watching Sharp Farmer here. He has got a good grab of logs in his grapple, and he is almost half full, I would say. Getting there, maybe not quite, but with that load he won't be too far away. But Gaming with James over here as well, he has got a good amount that he is throwing into the back of his container, getting his first proper load in there. So I'd still give it to Genetic at the moment. He's not going to be able to get the logs in quite as quick, but his head start and his advantage down there without being obstructed or blocked by any other players is certainly a big advantage.
That's right. Now, one thing Gaming with James did have in the first round was his grab abilities were absolutely exceptional. Granted, it was with a different tool, but he managed to load his truck incredibly quickly. So it's going to be interesting to see how quickly he handles it with this grapple. Interestingly, he is rotating the head. There we go. Look, he's rotated that to try and get it lined up.
I'm just looking down here with Genetic. He has, I think, 2 logs on the ground, maybe only 1 actually. I think one's a bit of a end of a log that's not going to be of any value to him. So he is probably 2/3, 3/4 full, but does not have enough tree on the ground, enough wood on the ground to get things finished off. So he's going to have to jump back into his processing unit now and cut down some more trees.
So interestingly, Shark Farmer has got a tree down here, but he's chosen to get back and cut some more. He's having to wind his way into the woods a little bit as well, so this is maybe not going to plan, whereas Gaming with James has got 2 full stacks of logs on the ground still, and is looking like he might just flip things around here. Shark Farm was ahead for a while, but now is looking like he's run out of wood and no space, or with quite a lot of space left in the container.
The genetic, I'd almost argue he's running out of good wood to cut. He's kind of stretched himself a little bit, and that small processing unit he has might struggle with this tree he's looking at grabbing at the moment, which would be a shame because he got himself in such a good position very early on by having this space down here, and it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully he can grab that one and get it cut down. I'm just watching him in the background there in the distance. In fact, he's sliding his processing unit further up the tree where it gets a little bit narrower. So, oh, he's going to run me over. Has he given up on that one? He may have. Maybe I'll have given up.
Gaming with James has got a very substantial load in here. I think he might just be, if he's not full, he's 1 log away from it. I'll have to jump out and check his truck, but he's not even bothering. He's just going to go and grab another load and just see.
The genetic didn't even try and end up cutting that tree. He's just loading up what he had on the ground. I don't think it's going to be enough for him. No, he's certainly going to need to get another tree. And the big spruce that he was trying to cut down is too big for that processing unit.
Well, Gaming with James is well and true. Gaming with James is full. He's definitely full now, and he's going to be out of here. The interesting thing is, where's he going to take his truck? He's in the middle of nowhere, but I wonder if he's even going to bother going back to the road, or he's just going to run it straight across the grass and out past the train station.
Certainly the way Shark Farmer's parked,
where he goes.
He has that opportunity, but watching James from above.
No, he's turned around. He's going out.
Oh,
he's going out to the road.
Slightly there behind Shark Farmer. The Game with James is off. He is certainly leading the pack here.
He is indeed. Again, loading, absolutely exemplary loading skills. That's where he really makes up his time.
Again,
he is on the road and away.
Just shows the benefit of that high lift with the Volvo and being able to pick up such a huge amount of logs. And being a flat area, it's relatively easy. Get the logs down there in a good stack.
I'll join Gaming with James as he heads on past me here on the way up to the sawmill.
I'm just looking at Shark Farmer while you do that, and I wonder, just talking about his early game tactics of trying to disrupt Gaming with James, whether that's counted against him, where he wasn't focused on getting trees cut down and focusing on his own game. He was too worried about what was happening elsewhere. Because he really is probably a long way behind, I would argue.
So here's James, just about to arrive at the sawmill, and let's watch which one of the 4 entrances he takes. I believe he took the 3rd one last time, so is he going to do the same again? Let's see, he's not hanging around, he's drifting to the other side of the road. Oh, but his container has come off. He has hit the junction and his container has come off. Now there are loaders here. I'm not sure if they're on this farm, but he has lost his container. This could change things completely, but he's running over to one of the wheel loaders. Can he use a wheel loader and get his container back onto his truck? There's also his truck is sitting precariously onto the tracks as well, so he really needs the train to not arrive either. I think his truck's too close.
Interestingly, neither Genetic or Shark Farmer will be aware of this situation, except for the fact they haven't seen Gaming with James's container get sold, so it will give them a ray of hope. Genetic down here, he's actually cutting down some of the smaller trees and taking what he can that's close to him, because he's so close to being full. I imagine these trees are going to penalise him in the long run, but perhaps he's just more interested in getting a full container and getting it sold. And, I mean, he's head-to-head really now with Shark Farmer, not that he knows it. In fact, Genetic's closing the container and he is jumping in his truck and he is on the road. He's moving. Wow,
this is going to be close. This is going to be close. So what's happened is Hamish has given permission to Gaming with James to reset his truck back to the shop. So he's got an empty low loader down at the shop, which he's now having to run up the road whilst Hamish resets his container.
Oh, goodness.
So that he can load back up. This is going to be close between Genetic and Gaming with James. This is going to be incredibly close. And Gaming with James was streets ahead, but misjudged the crossing and knocked his container off his trailer. So,
I mean, if
we
he
are
was
going to be super close here.
Yeah, if he was confident he was 100% full and had good wood in the back, there really was no need for him to be taking that sort of risk, though, was there?
Not at all. And he took the third exit. He could have gone up to the fourth where there are no crossings. And, well, he's got the road crossing, which is a lot smoother, and, like, pulled in with 2 minutes to spare, plus.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to be a really tight race to the finish. Gaming with James is back here first, but Genetic is meters behind him. Meters! This is going to be touch and go.
So
He's going to have to line this up so perfectly.
Does he have his container on? Tell me
No,
more.
he does not.
Oh,
and
goodness.
Genetics hit the junction too, but he had straps on. So his container did not go. So Gaming with James and Genetic, this is going to be, oh my goodness, it's going to be less than a second again. Oh, Gaming with James had the container glitch.
Oh, goodness. Sharp Farmer's given up. He's closed the door on his container and he's heading up now just to try and see if he can have an advantage. But
Gaming
we're
with
all on the way.
James has picked up the container glitch. I think knocking it off the trailer has caused the glitch to kick in.
Oh, that's such a shame.
And now I'm not sure if it registers the cell. We could still, to be honest, Genetic and Gaming with James both entered the sell point at exactly the same time. I mean, it was less than a second in it.
Oh, goodness.
So if we can get the value of that container, I think we should probably consider looking at
finalizing a result with that one.
Yeah, we might have to go to the referee on that one for a decision. But
we may.
He did everything right. It was just the glitch that threw him. And I was watching the trucks, and they were pretty much level pegging.
Oh, I must admit, I mean, I have no idea what was going on, and I'm going to have to watch a replay there on that and look forward to the highlights package. But if you're not watching on Lazy Goat, you should be, because you would have had both perspectives, and you could have focused on FSG's viewpoint to really see what was happening there.
Yes, indeed.
Sharp Farmer's heading in here in his bright pink truck.
He is indeed. Now, again, things that we've picked up tonight that you might want to pay attention for last time is that, again, is a raised crossing of the track. And it does cause issues. We've seen it a couple of times tonight.
All right.
And Sharp's gone over and sold his with no issues.
No issues.
Poor Gaming with James there.
Bit of heartbreak there at the end, but
press L. So Bauer's saying he didn't undo his straps, and that caused the issue.
Straps. Well, they were all briefed. All the players were briefed on that for the match. Through Hamish's testing, he discovered what the issue seemed to be, and they were all briefed on that. So, wow, what a finish! What a way to finish! 6 rounds, 6 matches.
To finish, indeed.
We'll just wait for the scores.
What a way to finish, indeed.
We'll just wait for the scores to come up, and well, whether we can get a final score on that one or not, we might be waiting for an adjudication for Farmer Hamish. So you might have to check out on Discord if we do have a final result for.
That's right. Yeah. And what a shame, though. Gaming with James, you know, a clear winner there again. I think it proves a little bit more calm and a little bit less haste. If you're that far ahead, take it easy.
That's right.
He did not need to rush over that crossing at that pace.
Didn't allow the snapping of the container. So when he put the container back on, he didn't allow it to snap into position.
That's right.
Hamish was saying.
That's right. Because he was rushing to make sure he got over the line ahead of Genetics.
Interestingly, I think Genetics left without a full container. So he may not have needed. There might have been enough of a penalty for Genetic taking a not 100% full container that he didn't need to, but the pressure of seeing the truck there ready to deliver forced him into making that decision. So yeah, you've got to
we will
gamble it.
We have. Yeah, you have got to gamble it sometimes. So we'll wait and see what the results are. This may take a little bit longer. So whilst we're waiting, again, a huge thank you to THRUSTMASTER and to G Portal for supporting Logging League.
Absolutely.
It's been really appreciated. And I think from the action tonight, it's been a really, really fun evening.
It is, and I'm looking
morning, wherever you are,
whatever it is, day. I'm looking forward to putting together a highlights reel with that, with both our viewpoints and streams, and having something to look at in a couple of weeks to summarize the excitement and activity tonight, and look forward to our next round, which is the 4th of March, I think it is, FSG. Saturday the 4th of March.
It is indeed, yes, 4th of March. So if you want to join, you can join the Discord. I think it's pinned at the bottom, at the top of both Argsy and my stream chats. And it's also in the descriptions as well if you're watching this after the stream. And yes. Get yourself stuck in. You too could be a part of this, and you every chance of winning some rather nice Thrustmaster gear at some point. So it might well be worth your time, and you have now a month to practice. So.
Oh, Farmer Hamish is calling gaming with James first in the chat in the game, so we'll just wait and see. Genetic second.
Interesting.
So we'll wait and see until we see some times. Perhaps we don't have a time for well, a value for gaming with Hamish. Gaming with James. Gosh.
Okay, let's yeah. Interesting. It just goes to show, doesn't it?
So we're just typing in now. I can see Hamish. It's putting those in, and we'll be ready to go in just a second. Look at the final scoreboard.
I wonder if we call Hamish in to explain his rationale as well. That might be quite a good thing to do, mightn't it?
Could do. Okay, we're ready to go for the scores, so we'll just take a look at the scoreboard.
Okay, let's have a look.
So there we are. We've got Gaming with James listed first, and we've got literally, what is that, 32 hundredths of a second between Gaming with James and Genetic. He's calling it that Gaming with James had a full container, so he wasn't going to be disadvantaged. And I'd have to agree with that, looking at what all of them loaded.
I can confirm that.
Yeah. Particularly,
I can confirm that.
Comparing Genetic and Sharp Farmer. Sharp Farmer was probably only 2/3 full, and he's $2,000 short of Genetic. Genetic was definitely almost full. So if Gaming with James had a full container, there was going to be no penalties. So I can concur with Farmer Hamish's decision there.
And I think it's really good. That shows that just going on time isn't necessarily the best way to do it, and actually the comparison between a full container and the best time gives it, I think, a fair and balanced result there.
That's right.
Nice one.
Well, we're done.
So there we go.
Round one.
We are done.
Round one of the logging lead, all done and dusted. Like you said, it did take us a little bit longer than we expected with our run sheet, but some fine tuning. I'm sure we can get that a little bit tighter. But look, I've had a blast. 2 hours and 45 minutes of fun, and we're still going.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
so
it was a blast.
No, thank you, Args. It's been fun pulling this together. A lot of hard work, but and I've got to give a huge shout out again to Farmer Hamish as our official course builder,
event director. I think we've titled him,
referee, event director. Yes, for all the hard work in the background, and honestly, the stuff you see in the background that you won't see in the background that's going on Discord, and the organisation that's going on to get the teams ready on time and get everybody into the servers and stuff it's been phenomenal. So hats off to Hamish for doing all of that.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see what happens in the background by entering.
Well, you can, yeah.
Nice segue there to calling for more entries. But obviously,
that's indeed right.
Yeah, huge thank you to Astragon, Pinnacle Loggers, and Pick a Pallet, our 3 teams that entered today. Great to have you all here and creating some exciting rounds. And then to our 6 individual players. I'm not going to go through and name you all individually. You know who you were, but great to have you guys here. And a lot of fun, a lot of excitement there. The 1v1v1s were certainly... I'd pick those as my highlight. But there was some great bits out of the 3v3s today that I think there can be a lot of learnings to come for future rounds. And, you know... the Barragon backup. What are we going to see next? Bring something new. I want to see something new next time.
Indeed. But yes, no, thank you, Args. Thank you for commentating alongside me as well. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It was good fun. Enjoyed it.
And I think we'll sign off there. Say thank you to everyone for watching and sticking with us and giving your enthusiasm, feedback, and everything in the chat. So very much appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you join us again on the 4th of March for the next one. Absolutely. The blast. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Thrustmaster and G-Portal once more, and thanks, FSG. Good fun, and see you again in a couple of weeks. we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
All right.
Take care.
Sign out.
Bye everyone.